1 minute. Alright, this looks alright. That still works. Okay. Hey, Donut. Let me think. We've just started. How are you? Hello. Let's start with this. We had some to-dos left over from last time. Let's start by fixing the bullet quad tree. What was it called, this new system? I'm pretty sure this is still using a point, right? Yeah. What did you say before? It needs to be like a box too. And float. Something like that. So theoretically that should make it so if we had a particularly big bullet, it would actually collide. Okay, that's broken something. Interesting. What did... You finished your new PNG reader writer yesterday. Polished the new docs a bit and you haven't thought of a new name. Lib Epic. Surely I can just pass in dot position, or do I need to pass in dot position dot x position dot y? The Fortnite company would like that. Yeah, probably, right? Is this functionally identical to what you had before? Is there a constructor to automatically build a box out of a transform? My fear was it was just doing X and X for both. That's clearly not the case. That one died. That's very weird. Is a box float correct for this? This is what you told me last time. We're looking for bullets. We're doing a box quad tree test, taking on the... Or maybe transform isn't correct? I think transform here is correct. A single point isn't much of a box, is it? Oh, you're right. It needs to be the top left and the bottom right, doesn't it? That's right. You'd have to span point minus? It'd have to span... Oh, you mean span... You don't mean span the type, you mean like as in it needs to go between these two. Minus vec radius to plus vec2 radius. It would need to be including the position, right? Yeah, not STD span. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, we currently have a position we're checking, but we actually want to check, like, the surrounding area as defined by its radius. So this thing in the top left and the bottom right is minus radius and plus radius. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me see. I'll just extract it here. I'll get the actual maths in just a moment, but I'm just sketching something down. Actually, did we not already have a circle to box? I don't remember. Alright, let's see. So, collision radius is a float, transform is currently a vec2f. So, let's make sure you're a vec2. And do we have to maybe construct a vec2 from you? Keep going, thanks. You can use get AABB of. Yeah, we had something like that. Hip off. Oh, this thing. Yeah, we literally had a function for this. Get the axis aligned bounding box of a circle. In this case, we're constructing a circle based... Yeah, we literally just this. I knew this sounded... In fact, we're actually doing that collision here. Funny. Yeah, we're literally doing that type of collision here. Or at least not the reverse. Like, we are pushing onto the quad tree with AABB of. We should also be doing that here, I think. Because this is for normal players and stuff. I think this would make sense. How is everyone today? Now let me think. Should I bother extracting the explosions to its own loop, or is it just fine in here? Let's see, that looks just fine. Let's just spawn a bunch more of these in. Seems to be doing just about what I'd expect. Looks normal. Yeah, okay, that works. Alright, so that's just one thing off the to-do list I meant to get done. What I really wanted to try doing today was to get bullets interacting with the tiles, and then rockets, and then have them explode. Because I think that would be fun. It's also a pretty major thing. So let's see, let me think for a second. We have our collision system. I'm pretty sure we actually have it in the physics system, right? We normally do... You think every explicit mention of the donut namespace is unnecessary because it includes aliases. You only have it because autoclang D inserts it. Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway. In collision system, or physics system rather, we're doing collisions with physics objects. What we could do is turn every bullet into a physics object and we'd get collision for free. But I'd like to see if there's an approach we can do without making them all physics objects. Obviously, you know, if bullets start having changing path over time, you know, like if they curve or if they do a fucking flip or whatever. It makes sense, but for now I just want to have a reminder of what our physics system is doing. And please don't provide me the answer. Thank you. Let's see. For everything with a collision, which is also a physics object and has a transform, we calculate collisions on it. We draw a circle hull, and then we work out which tile is impacting on it. Now here, we're actually only passing in transforms. I don't think any part of this is involved with physics whatsoever, which is what I basically wanted to see, because we're only concerned with transforms and whatnot. Obviously what we're doing in this collision system is pushing stuff around on contact points. Like we work out how far in for the wall you'd go and then put you at the nearest point, you know, that sort of thing. We don't need all this for the bullets, we just need them to get deleted or blow up. So we might be able to either reuse this or extract part of it. Let's see. I'm wondering as well if perhaps I should move this out of physics system and into a shared header somewhere, but let me see. Would you consider a bullet colliding with a wall of physics? I might. I would perhaps say even that the fact that we're only tying physics objects to wall collision is perhaps a misnomer. In this case, is that true? I don't know if misnomer is the right word, but like, you know. Perhaps this stuff could be in collision system, even. Considering physics is not really involved. Obviously, we originally put it in here because we only wanted players and enemies to collide with walls, and it's quite an expensive calculation. I just said, could you not give me the answer? Didn't we talk about to do bullet collisions? We did. I just wanted to work it out myself. Yeah, we talked about it. There's all sorts we can do. I would like to solve it. Right? Carefully avoided giving the answer. You implied that I'm going down the wrong path by saying, didn't we go over this before? Implying that whatever I'm doing right now is a bad idea. I can check our DMs again, because I think we were talking about... I mean, I was talking about lighting for a while. And then you were talking about state. I guess it was... I guess it was in stream. You're implying you might have forgotten it. It wasn't in text. I've definitely forgotten it. Yeah. Because what we're doing is, I would hope, quite trivial. To collide a bullet with a wall, right? A lot of this work in calculate collisions to do with, like... You know, working out, like, how far into the wall you are and, like, where to push you out and, like, all of this. This is unnecessary. You basically just need to hit this mark, and if that happens, then do something. That's how I see it. And we've got code here that does some part of that. For example, we're constructing a circle hull. We're going over the map, working out which potential walls you could collide with. And if you do, we're constructing contact points. At this point, we might already be done. Perhaps even we can go into find smallest separation and just return true. I have a separate function from find smallest separation. And just return true if we've hit a wall. Or maybe even the coordinates of the wall you've hit. Or the coordinates of where the collision was if you want to play some particles there. The bullets don't have any kind of continuous collision detection yet. No, so obviously an issue we'll have right now is if your wall is this thick, and if the bullet's going like at this speed, this is one bullet, you know, obviously it'll detect a collision here. If it's going at this speed, the bullet would go through the wall. Like this speed, you know, there's plenty of time here to get a collision. I'd need to check our code, but I think our current code, it might skim over. I don't know if we're doing like, you know, a capsule between 2 points, for example, which would detect a collision. There's a few ways to do this, right? You can... The capsule is essentially just like, is it anywhere between these 2 points plus radius, right? That's how you get this shape. You can always draw like a line as well without the radius. I know, then it would skim over corners. This is, I think, normal enough. How do we... I think currently we don't do anything like that at all in the collision system. It might be okay for walls in particular because they're pretty thick. Well, let's go very quick. I think this would make it pretty easy to go through the corner, which is already really easy. Like, you can get pushed through a corner because this is actually quite a thin gap. A bullet doesn't have to go that fast to go through a diagonal like this. So ideally, we would. I'll be honest. Obviously, this doesn't help it when your player is here and the bullet spawns here. That's something I'd have to add, is making sure that if there is a wall between your gun end and the player center, then don't spawn the bullet. For diagonals, it's a problem. It's currently a problem for players too, perhaps. Because if an enemy pushes you just right, you do clip through. But that also might just be a case that you're getting pushed through with a lot of speed. Regardless. The code right now, I think, is just checking right now, like at this moment, what potential contact points there are. It's doing this min and max thing. So I suspect that instead of this circle hull, we could draw a capsule from this to previous position and radius. I'm assuming you've got something like that in your code base. If not, I'm sure it's a pretty easy math sum to construct a capsule from 2 points in a radius. Which... You don't remember if you added a box versus capsule function in V2, but there's definitely circle versus capsule. Okay, if not, I'm sure I can work out the maths for that or Google it. I'm sure it's reasonable enough. We're basically just trying to see if there's a... Is there a capsule in MS Paint? I guess this is kind of a capsule. Not really. I don't know, you're trying to see if this collides. I'm sure there's some maths involved in doing that. They're called intersects. Okay. Because I guess you're looking for this chunk in here. Like a graph intersection. That makes sense. Anyway, normally with collision we're doing all this sorting, voided vertices, all of this, penetration depth, find smallest separation. I don't for the life of me remember how most of this works. I think you're basically drawing certain splitting the box up somehow and saying which wall you're closest to or something. I don't remember. It's just confusing. What is standard copy sign? I don't remember this. Copy signed integer? Well, float. Sign not copy sign number. No, that's not it. Well, anyway, that's what we have in physics system. If I look back at our collision system, it gives the first argument the sign of the second argument. Okay. What does that mean in this case? We have 2 floats. Okay, we can't use the quad tree for this unless we were to fill the quad tree with all the tiles every frame, which doesn't sound smart. Considering we've already got like a pretty good way of getting nearby tiles, so that seems silly. Let me have a think then. Physics system. Well, actually, I guess this code does have to be in physics system because ideally you'd calculate positions and stuff from here before setting current position. That makes sense. Oh, okay. It doesn't matter what the actual numbers are. I see. Sign in this case. Okay, fine. That makes sense. It's like aligning them or something. You're getting the normal. So I guess when getting the normal, you want them to be on the same... I don't know if same sign is the right way to say that. Sign's in plus minus sign, yeah. You want them to be in the same realm without having to do, if it's less than 0, to make it minus it. Multiply it by -1 or whatever, and blah 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 blah. Fine, what does that do internally? I don't know. I don't care. Is this thing VVVVVV? Alright, very funny. Same quadrant. Yeah, as in like if you're on a graph, you have one point here. By copying the sign, you put them both in the same. This is a quadrant up here. That makes sense. Alright, anyway, I'm just going to scratch something out for a moment while I have a think. And I'm just going to chuck it in the physics system for now and extract it later. Just so I can have a look at what we were doing here. Let me think. And I'm also just going to do it for bullets for now. So I'm going to look for every entity with transform and is bullet. Do we have something called bullet, right? Is bullet? No. I thought it was just called bullet. It is. Oh, it's weapon bullet. What am I doing in, let's pop this on the side. Collision system. What are we doing in when we're constructing our bullets thing? All bullets is everything with a transform. Oh, it's just bullet type. Okay. Fine. You know what? Even this stuff. Registry.view. Oops. We want collision as well. It's okay. That should be okay, right? Unused variable. Okay. Fine. Let me think. These are all our bullets. How does our calculate collisions work? I'd like to split this to the right. Is including respawn necessary? No, I just copy and pasted it. This is weird. It's ended up in a bunch of places. Yeah. No, I mean, I think excluding respawning is meant to be like, you aren't meant to be able to move around, right? Is that not true? Maybe I don't remember. You certainly can't shoot. No, I think that's correct. Some of them it makes sense. I think you don't want stuff to be pushed around that's respawning, so I think this is correct. Here, obviously, it doesn't matter. There's no respawning bullet right now. Anyway, let me see if I can try and construct that cylinder. What was it called? Capsule. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot, sorry. So you're going to be the capsule hull. And what donut capsule, what do you take? You take a length and a type name. You take a length and a type. Interesting. Why can I not click on you to see what you do? I would like to read the docs. Fuck's sake, VS Code. That's such dog shit. Donut shapes. So you take a number of layer vector dimensions. In this case, I would think that's 2. P is a component type, so is that perhaps circle? I don't know. Vector coordinates. Oh no, wait. Vector coordinates. That's just a vec2 in this case, I think. So I would assume that this is a float and a vec2. And you construct it probably based on, let's see. Oh, for fuck's sake. Shapes. Here we go. L is 2 in this case. Yeah, I got that. Thanks. You might have to reword the docs. Length 2. And we're passing in a vec2. The center line of the capsule is going to be a line of... Do I just construct it in here? Center line will be... How do I construct a line segment? How many arguments do you take? I'm assuming you take a start and an end, right? So that will be transform dot... Come on. Maybe just transform would do? No, probably not. I could have a transform to line segment. That could be useful, maybe. I don't know if this is the right way around. It might be previous position and position. Anyway, we want to draw a center line. We've got a line between these two. Previous point and current point. And then we also want a radius, which is just going to be the collision dot radius. Simple enough. That should give us a capsule. And now we need to somehow work out how we can check that against our map. And you were saying perhaps we don't have a box to capsule collision, but we can look at that in just a moment. For now, do we need that min and max tile thing? Or is perhaps that's what we'd build? We could work out what min and max tile is of the capsule. And in which case we wouldn't really be doing a capsule collision, we'd be doing a rectangle collision, right? Maybe that's a little silly. Our capsule is this, if it will let me draw it. This is all the stuff the bullet could potentially interact with between its two positions. Obviously, if there's a wall here, I'd like that to be collided with. If there's a wall here, for example, that shouldn't hit a collision. And if we were to use a box, then like this, then we potentially detect a collision here and here. Your assumed component was enough to imply it's an individual coordinate components type, not the type of the entire vector. It's an individual coordinate components type. Oh, is that meant to be float? Oh, that's not right. Oh. What? Is this not meant to be vec2? My idea would have been that you're constructing a capsule of size 2 and this is your coordinate type. They all use the same convention. Yeah. They have float, for example. Because this is meant to be float. But then radius is not correct. Radius is t, which is a type, which is float, and collision radius is a float as well, so that should also work, right? Center line is a float of some length. I think this should be correct. Maybe you just want that? Okay, fine. Easy game. We're not constructing, I guess. We're just passing the float in. Yeah. Okay. Let's see then. I'm just going to copy and paste this stuff for now so we have something to think about. We also need to pass in the map, I'm guessing, right? Or do we already have the map here? We already have the map here. That's nice. So... Well, actually, I think it's okay to be calculating the min and max tile in this case. Or perhaps we'd have to construct a... We'd have to work out where the max is of both the previous and current position, which would surely be a rectangle of that radius, right? Because in this case, I'm trying to iterate over the map. So, I mean, we can validate these weird corner cases later, but perhaps we want to get the rectangle of the capsule in here. That makes some sense to me. Is there a easy way to convert between capsule and box? Perhaps you have a constructor that takes one. Scalar component type. That would make sense as well. Let's see. I guess I can start by just trying to construct it and see if that works. Const box test equals... Let's see if I can just pass in the capsule hull, maybe. Well, this would be a size 2 and a float as well, I suppose. Okay, there's not a way to convert between a box and a thing. I'm just going to Google it then. There should be an easy enough algorithm for this, I imagine. You just need the top left and the bottom right. Let me see. Capsule to rectangle. No, I don't want to look at Pinterest. They're all named get AABB of. You don't know if there's one for capsule, but there should be. Yeah, because this is functionally what we were doing with bullets in the collision system, but we're passing it into the quad tree. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Actually, maybe we can just do get AABB of this. That seems to work. So, get the axis aligned bounding box of a capsule. Yeah, that's perfect. This is exactly what we need. Minimum is the min between point A and between centerline point A minus length of radius, so that gives you the minimum and maximum of this box. Nice. And this is exactly the code to get you the most bottom, or the most top left and the most bottom right, or whatever, bottom left, top right, I guess. Because it's minus and plus stuff, you know. This is nice. So, and that's sort of what we were doing in here anyway, right? So this can be our capsule AABB. Perhaps. The box does not have a Y. What do you have? Oh, hang on a moment then. I need to rethink this. So we need to do box min dot thingy, and then box max. So this will give us the collision that we see with this orange box. Okay. We still need to resolve these things I keep pointing out here. That'll be in a moment. So if that tile is even collidable, then we construct a hull based off that tile. Fine. Now, this is where we need to do the actual work, right? Previously, we were using this find smallest separation code. I should think there's a few pieces of actually important maths we can pull out of there and use here. Most of it I think we don't care about. Or is it easier for me to just Google... What was it called? Intersection between box and capsule. There should be a formula for that on like Wikipedia, right? Box and capsule intersection. Let's see. Why they are not widely used. Crazy. You think it was surprisingly hard to find? Well, considering the first result was why it's not used, that's quite funny. Let's see. Bounding box is a cuboid. Got that. I've got that far. A bounding capsule is a swept sphere. Yeah, that makes sense. It's yeah, that's fine. Bounding cylinder. Well, it's a capsule. That's not a cylinder. Basic intersection checks. For some types of bounding volume, an effective check is that of a separating axis theorem. The idea is that if there exists an axis by which they do not overlap, then they do not intersect. Usually, the axes are checked are those of the basic axes of the volume. Okay. Often it's followed by also checking the cross product of the previous axes. In the case of an axis-aligned bounding box, the test becomes a simple set of overlap tests in terms of the unit axes. For an AABB defined by M and N, against one defined by O and P, they do not intersect if, and then like a maths algorithm. It can be projected along an axis, for example, blah, 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 blah. I think you have it in V3 there. I'll see if I can find it to and send it to you. Oh, thank you. If it's more than just what I've found on Wikipedia, then that sounds handy, because what I see here is the following. Also, I'm glad I googled this, because fuck me, I'm shit at maths. You only have sphere versus capsule. I guess you gave up and used GJK? GJK? What's this? Just kidding. It's not this. Or is this incorrect? Is this only for 2 axis-aligned bounding boxes? A groups.google. I'm looking for an algorithm that can compute the intersection between a capsule and an AABB. There's meant to be an algorithm for it, but I can't find it. I don't know what you mean. It's a general algorithm for any convex versus convex collision, but it's iterative and not exact. Oh. Intersection between AABB and a swept sphere. Maybe thicken the cube. That's not it. I mean... Could you... Right. We have a capsule like this. Or whatever. And I maybe get my nice perfect capsule back if I control Z enough. We have our capsule here. And some boxes. Let's say here's a box. And here is a box. Both of these boxes... I'm going to move this one a little closer in. Come on now. Both these boxes are like pretty close to the point that a simple check around the AABB will result in a... You can see my screen, right? Will result in a collision. And we can quite literally just say, okay, fine, in this case, it is within the AABB, but the radius of the line, you know, only extends to here, right? Something we have a line in the middle that's not being drawn right now. We can basically just say, like, does the box at any point actually line up with the radius of the line. As in, pretend the capsule is just center line. What? Is that what I just said? Just do box versus line if you inflate the box by the radius. Oh, actually, that's even easier. So you're suggesting that the capsule is actually not a capsule, it's just a line. And that if we want to check if a box is interacting with it, our box is of this size normally. Usually the radius of the capsule would be, let's say, this much. You can't really see that. It would normally be this much. What we actually do is just make, you know, that length. We just make the box that much bigger. Box and 2 circle tests. What are we drawing here? We're just trying to do some collision between a capsule and an axis-aligned bounding box. We thought we were family friendly here. Does this look inappropriate? I can make it better. No. Box and 2 circle tests. Where would you decide to put the circle? You would have to find the closest point, I guess, on the line, and then draw a circle on that, and then do a box on circle. So if you were to say that the center of the box is here, and the line is here, you could say that the closest point on the line is here, and then construct a circle there. Likewise, if the box was colliding here, I don't know if you can see what I'm drawing. The box was colliding here, the center would be here, and the center of the line would be here. You could do a collision check here. The capsule's not axis aligned, so it's not trivial either. There's no trivial way to work out where along the line you are? The 2D capsule, because the middle bit is a rectangle instead of a cylinder. That's true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite literally, this bit is just a rectangle. Was I not onto something earlier, or is that not trivial either? Where I suggested, okay, fine, you check first if you're colliding with the axis-aligned bounding box, and then second, you just you check to see if like the distance between the line and the box is less than the radius. Does that not make sense? You have a box here, we have a min, we have a max, here's our box. It's this shape. Here we have some... You think inflate the point and line check is the easiest? Is that... It does sound easy. I just want to know if what I was talking about would also work. Inflating the box, sure. We'll do that. But I was trying to have my own independent thought. It's been squashed. You can forget about the capsule altogether. Yeah. That's right. Well, whatever. Pretend I just like scrumpled up my paper and threw it in the bin. Goodbye, independent thought. Fine. Did we do something like this before? Circle at box corner plus orientation direction multiplied by half height minus radius, and circle at box center minus... How would you work out the orientation? You'd have to check the... You'd have to get the... I guess you just get an angle based on the 2 positions in the line. Is that your orientation? Wait, what? Box CTR is not box corner. What is box CTR? Box center. Oridir is just 0, 1 multiplied by Ori matrix or something. He's saying you can model a capsule as 2 sides in a rectangle, but you think donut is on spawn here. I think donut is spawn. I was just enjoying thinking. I can shut my brain off. Look, we can just get the work done. That's fine. Line segment 2 thing. Here we go. We don't need an AABB. We just we don't even need the capsule at all, even, do we? You need to come back. You're a box. Capsule hull equals... We're going to call you line segment equals donut line segment like this. Center line, we just want this chunk in here. We don't need the radius and stuff. Obviously, that's not how you work. I'm guessing this is the same constructor otherwise. We're getting a line between the two positions. We then want to construct... what is local space? No, that's just the other member in chat. Are you doing collision detection with that? Yeah, so we're doing bullet collision detection. Until now, the walls in the level, here is a lovely tree. I hope you like my tree. This has only been colliding with players and like entities, so it can resolve this stuff pretty well. But if a bullet is getting fired like pretty quick, you know, a bullet would be something more like this. If this is going, our current system is not going to, it's going to tunnel, you know, if it goes really quick. And there's a number of ways you can try and do this check, because essentially the point is, if you're only checking for direct collision, this would not collide. Obviously this would collide. And by using a capsule, we're basically trying to do this. And Donuts the guy in chat. He's a good mentor. He's a hot dog now. Anyway, I was trying to see if we could do a AABB and capsule collision detection, but Donut's suggesting that instead we just draw a line. Let's say this is our previous position and our current position. And then we simply, when we're doing this detection, we just grow the cube by the radius that the bullet would be. And then that's functionally doing the same thing. This is called smearing. That's a nice thought. You can do it in MS Paint by holding down Shift. Quite fun. That's my new signature. How you doing, Ned, by the way? Anyway, we've got a line segment. We don't need this capsule anymore, I think. Or is the capsule okay in this case? Hang on, you're saying that we don't want the capsule at all? Inflate the box and line check. How... Do I... Surely I still need... You would not do that with a capsule. At least it's a rectangle, cheaper and easier. Yeah, but then if the bullet grazes the edge of a wall, it's going to explode. Like if a bullet goes here, and it should actually go across the edge, it'll actually collide here. And we don't want this to collide. Right? Well, maybe it's a bit easier if I make the ball bigger. You know, I'd like to be able to... I'd like to have it, like, spot on. I think that's satisfying. It won't. I mean, in this case, this would collide. Because the AABB of the circle here should be like this, right? Draw an angled rectangle. How does that work? Does that sound easier than what we're doing now? What's your suggestion? Surely there's some literature on it. Well, I was looking it up earlier. I found the Wikipedia page and I found a couple of Stack Overflow points. This other person is saying, to test whether a capsule intersects a ray, because I guess this is for rays, test distance between the line segment crossing points A and B if they're on the ray line. If it's smaller than radius R, then they are touching. Well, it's a little... that might not work in this case. There's also a post from 3 weeks ago on r/physicsengine. There's 6 domains to consider. Corner of box with hemisphere of capsule, edge of box with hemisphere, plane of box with hemisphere, edge of box with cylinder, plane of box. They all have lots of challenges. Blah, 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 loads of code. It's interesting that for something like this, which you'd think would have been solved by, like, the Greeks 10,000 years ago, you can't just, like, Google it and get an answer immediately. I thought you were doing an angled capsule, which is an angled rectangle, basically. An angled capsule isn't really an angled rectangle, though, right? An angled capsule is a capsule, isn't it? Like this shape is different to a rectangle. Rectangle. I don't want to, like, we could already do that check, but I don't want to check for this intersection in here, on the edges here. Obviously, we could just do what Toho does and make all our bullets squares. You will check first and last position. What do you mean, DFO? We've had a few thoughts, right? Like, I was saying, if we're trying to collide with a wall, we first do the axis align bounding box thing, and then check distance from the edge of the square to this, which I thought would work. Rectangle check just for between the frames. I think you're sort of suggesting what Ned was saying earlier, with the circle at, and then a square. Like, if I understand, which I don't, he was basically saying get a couple circles and then a rectangle. Perhaps. He found a guy online suggesting the thickening, but he doesn't cite a source. You know what we can do? We can just implement it and see how it looks, right? I guess, Ned, your thing was more like this, right? By the way, I think a square wouldn't work with the bullets because we can't. We're using axis-aligned stuff here, right? Otherwise, we'd be checking like this, and that would look weird. I don't know. Rectangle of size from center 1 to center 2. It seems like there's a lot of solutions. The one I got here was just off Wikipedia. Let me try and see what I can do here. Donut said that we could draw a line and expand it. But we still need to have something to plug into the map to get what tiles we may be interacting with. It's not exactly equivalent after all. How off is it? What were you checking? You drew a thing in paint, you'll send it to me. Oh, thanks. We can talk about it. Should we have a think about Ned's solution? And perhaps DFO? I don't know. I don't know if they're the same. Donut sent me this sexy photo. Look at this. So, in Donut's case, you're saying if you extend the box to the size of the radius, you'd think it would be here. You need to know where the collision happens. In this case, no. We just need to know there is a collision, because at which point, this is just for bullets, okay? And rockets. So we're just going to destroy it, we're going to play a particle effect, whoosh, and then spawn an explosion or whatever if it's a rocket. This doesn't need to be super duper precise in that sense. Like, if there's an explosion here and the bullet's shooting at 20,000 kilometers an hour, you're not going to notice if, like, the particle plays a bit off. Like, if it spawns a bunch of sparks, like, over here instead of over here, at a microscopic scale. Ideally, I'd like to know where it is, but I think that might be unnecessary in this case. But if it's cheap, then yes, I would like to know, if that makes sense. This is something that'll probably be checked quite a lot, so I'd like to keep it as simple a algorithm as possible. Because every bullet is already being checked against all the entities, and now checking against, like, nearby tiles is just more. Anyway, what's wrong with this then, Donut? The growing thing. Since the capsule is at 45 degrees here, the corner is off by square root 2 minus 1. The issue with the box growing. Because the capsule is at a 45 degree angle. The corner is off by square root 2 minus 1. Oh! I see what you mean. I do. It would only work if the corners are rounded, at which point you're just producing a second capsule, which we could do, right? So instead of just growing the square into a square... instead of just growing the square into a square, could we grow the square into a capsule? Perhaps that would work. And then we're just doing a capsule on capsule collision check, right? That's not a capsule. It's no, this isn't a capsule. What shape? What's a rounded rectangle called? Capsule 2? It's the same idea. You have like a circle at each corner and then a big rectangle in the middle. No, rounded rectangle. Oh, do you think that sounds like a solution then? To grow the size of the tile's hitbox by constructing a rounded rectangle, taking in the coordinates of the min and max of that square and doing so. Do you think that sounds hard? At this point, just modeling the capsule as two halves of a sphere and an orientated rectangle sounds easier. It's a rounded rectangle line. Yeah, this is all 2D, by the way. What we're trying to do, we're thinking of a nice way to resolve capsule and axis aligned bounding box collision. We want to make bullet collision work with our level. Our level is constructed of lots of squares, and the bullet is a circle. And as the bullet moves, we want to basically smudge a line. Why is the bullet a capsule? So we can avoid having the bullet teleport through thin walls. Or indeed, if the bullet's going really quickly, we want to basically be drawing... We want to check for collisions between the two most current positions of the circle, if it'll let me. It won't let me do this, whatever. Can you take advantage of the fact that the squares are always aligned on the grid? Wait, sorry? Because you can still take advantage of the fact that the squares are always aligned on the grid. Yeah, so I should say as well, the map is also, like, normal. Like, the map is like a checkerboard, you know? Pretend I'm drawing these squares all the same size. Maybe growing would work if the amount each side grew depended on the angle dot product between it and the capsule. Well, Wikipedia was mentioning dot products, actually. What did it say? I'm really surprised this isn't a common problem. Well, the bullets are small now, but let's say you're shooting a big rocket. It's actually like the size of a tile. I mean, I don't know if I've shown if you've just come in for the maths, but the bullets are pretty big actually. Let me show you. Maybe this will help explain things. Here's our game. Here's a wall, like all these trees. They're 16 by 16 pixels. They're of size 1 in our system, tile size 1. You can see the normal hitbox is working for bullets, just doing spheres. So he shoots a big rocket, that comes out as a sphere, you see? And then, so that collision is pretty simple. And I want to collide with this stuff. You can see this bullet here. I would like this to collide with that wall, for example. Pretty easy to calculate which squares the bullet could potentially touch. Yeah, that bit's easy. That's that we can already do. That's this code here with a bit of modification. Maybe I just need to bring back something quickly. This code here technically is drawing a capsule based on the line drawn between the previous and current position of the bullet, and then it's interrogating our map based on any tiles that could be on any could intersect with this axis line bounding box. And then so in here we're like, this is where we could do our magic. Just in this chunk here. Right away you can just check if it's inside a wall. My music ended. Let me try and find something new while we think. Hello, Tripped. If you think about it as which grid squares is this capsule touching, then it turns into an easier problem. That's this. That's solved. Sort of. Not really. So the code I've just shown you, we have our bullet. We have where the bullet is and where the bullet was. And we can easily draw a capsule between them, like so. That's not a problem. And then we can also grab an axis-aligned bounding box, roughly. The grid square is just a box. But I've mentioned it, like we want to make sure that like the corners of the bullet aren't accidentally being triggering a collision. Full book 2D game collision detection suggests a binary impact search. You draw a big circle around pos 1 and pos 2, and if that large circle collides with something, reduce the size. That sounds a little expensive. It sounds like iterative. Is there not like a sort of one bang approach we can do? What if every frame you just locate what tile the bullet is on? If it's solid, then stop the bullet. The locating what tile it is on is the problem. Because we're trying to check between our previous position and our current position. We're not just checking 1 point. 1 point would be really easy. We're trying to do a smear. What's your nickname on Discord? It's just Woolen. Are you in my server? You can just put it in like off topic or something. Or programming. Blah, blah, blah. Testing against an arbitrary box is much harder. It is in a grid. And as far as I care, I would like to keep things as a grid purely because it fits that retro aesthetic and it also trivializes a lot of work. If distance between sphere and square is less than square half extent... If distance between sphere... You mean circle, I guess, in this case. You have a collision. Yeah, we're not doing sphere, though. We're doing capsules. Doing capsules. Circle versus rect is cheap, so multiple cheap checks is better than some line versus rectangle. Can you guarantee the bullet will never traverse more than one square in a single step? No. I mean, it's possible we'll add a bullet to the game that fires pretty fast, you know? Let's say, for example, we have a hit scan style weapon that instantly shoots. I would like that to work in our system, because Nuclear Throne has the hyper launcher, and you basically click and it just immediately detonates the wall opposite you. I think that's pretty cool. So let's say that I would like to have an the potential to have like a laser or something that instantly comes out and hits something. Oh, dung, like that. You could substep it, but it might miss corners unless the substep is very small. I mean, it doesn't have to be uber precise, I suppose. I'm just thinking, you know. I'm very surprised that it's such a problem, I suppose. Circle. Just use a raycast and check for intersection. Yeah. I mean, raycasting, I'm aware of it. Perhaps that is a solution, is to just have instant bullet versus slow bullet, and just say that bullets can't be faster than a certain amount. But I don't know. I'd rather not be restricted by something arbitrary like the bullet can't go faster than 1 tile a second. I'm sure you can leverage the fact that the squares are on the same size and locked to a grid. I mean, that's functionally what we do here. In a sense, we're taking advantage of the fact that they're all locked into the same size in a grid to precisely get which tiles it could collide with. It's just the more precise part. Or are you saying that there might be some maths way to say all of our squares are of a particular size? I don't know. It shouldn't be this hard, right? Yeah. Yeah, I've been making good use of Wikipedia for algorithms, actually. I'm just, yeah. I can't send you a PDF on Discord. Weird. The solution is doing a raycast before the next tick. Yeah. That's what we're doing, Mr. Abdul. We that's what we've been discussing. We have a. I can't keep explaining this to everyone that pops in, but like we've got two positions and we're drawing a cylinder. That's what we're solving right now. That's this. And we want to check for walls. You like the iterative solution. Binary search is fast and won't be a lot of circle versus rectangle checks. It's interesting that there is so much discussion on it. I'm gonna keep Googling for just a minute. Because I mean, I still like my original idea where you just do an axis-aligned bounding box check. And then I just imagine there must be some algorithm for doing a check between a square and a line segment. Or is there really no way to construct like box from a make a capsule from a box? Or like a rounded rectangle? Do you have a round? Maybe you don't have rounded rectangle in your case. The box won't be axis aligned. Oh, that's true. Well, the wall. So I'm saying if we go with your original idea where we grow the size of the tile by the radius and then round the corners of it, does your framework have a rounded rectangle or no? But I have to come up with my own concept of that. Maybe that's a bit more complicated. Box to rounded rectangle. Let's see. You're trying to figure out how much it would need to grow to emulate the rounded corners. Is it not just by radius? What was your iterative? I'm sorry, DFO. I know you're a normal human being. I can't download a PDF off a website I don't know. I know you've been in my chat for a few weeks. I can't just click on random PDFs that people link in Twitch chat. I'm so sorry. Is there a website that you got it from that maybe I can look up myself? You said that it was related to a 2D, like a book or something, right? I would be breaking a lot of rules if I started clicking on PDFs, I'm afraid. You pirated it from somewhere. I'll look it up in my own time if that's okay. I'm not the most secure person on the planet, but I can't download PDFs through Twitch chat. I'm sorry. Demos of 7 pages. Maybe I could just buy the book. Maybe it's like a pre-owned copy of it somewhere for a tenner. It might be useful. I don't know. No, I don't want a box to rounded rectangle in JavaScript. No. C++. I don't know. Okay, they're drawing ellipses. That's not it. Python function. No, this isn't it. What was your iterative solution then? Draw a big circle around position 1 and position 2. Could reframe the problem as rasterization but with really big pixels, and then it gives you the equations. Rasterization with really big pixels. The point being that, like, when I draw something in Paint and it makes it like this, if I draw a line like this, the line is like some arbitrary thing like this between like 2 points, but it's trying to rasterize it between like a pixel size like this. You're asking which pixels did they touch? We're still talking about bullets. We are, sorry. They can't be circles because we don't want bullets penetrating walls. The rasterization method would work, but my god, that's slow. I mean, we are doing a painter... I've been calling it painter's algorithm. I hope that's what it's called. We actually do this algorithm for checking for line of sight. It's a little sketchy, but like, if the player is here, and the enemy is here, we do like a check like that to see if there's a tile in the way, you know? If the enemy can like see you. I don't know if this might work. That's quite funny. Isn't a single raycast the solution to this normally? That's what Abdul was suggesting, but like, it does mean that like a bullet would go into the wall a bit, right? Like if a bullet is here and here, these are its previous and current positions, the raycast may just be like this, at which point the bullet might leave. Has a little thickness, yeah. It just might look a little weird, you know, if you're shooting a really accurate gun along the corner and it looks like it's clipping through the corner. I'm a big fan of games where the hitboxes like perfectly match things. And because this is like a low-res pixel art game, I think it's like a really good opportunity to use some slightly more expensive methods to get like pixel perfection. Because, you know, there's only going to be like a few hundred collisions at once or something. It's kind of nice to be... You know how, like, for example, like Lethal Company has like really expensive ray trace lighting, but because it runs at like 240p, it can get away with it. I like that sort of thing. Like, I'm not just doing low res for the sake of it. It's also fun to use silly methods like this. If you shoot a bullet and the rocket explodes because the edge of it grazes a corner, you'd find that annoying. Yeah, but it's a skill issue in that case, right? I don't know, I think it makes sense to me. Like, I would be kind of confused if this is my wall and I visibly see the rocket like go through the corner. Like this would be weird, I think, right? You'd be like, is the corner not real, you know? It's not a multiplayer game and you wouldn't have that many entities. You could simulate the game at a high rate, like 240 hertz. It would work with even faster bullets. Yeah, but that's not really fixing the problem, is it? We're just taking more measurements along the line. It would help, certainly. What I'm trying to come to is that I'm surprised that there's not like a trivial maths equation for this and everyone does this in every game. Let's have another think for just a second, sorry. We're back in our code. Here, we've got every bullet, and we've constructed a capsule. We've drawn a line between the bullet's previous and current position in our tick. We've got a capsule over it. Can you post a Wikipedia link? That's okay, as long as it's not a .exe. Is it the page I was just on? Let's find out, I guess. Oh, it's got stars. What's the page? I'll just type it in myself. Twitch has links disabled because bots like to come in and go put 10 people to their phishing links. Oh, it's midpoint circle algorithm. Okay, I'm gonna have a search. Midpoint circle algorithm. This is your rasterization function. It looks a little expensive, as maybe as Abdul was suggesting. It's an algorithm used to determine the points needed for rasterizing a circle. I mean, we can just try it, right? We can see how expensive it is. It should theoretically only happen... Oh, see, Bresnam's line algorithm. I've got this as a purple link. So I've been on this, apparently. Line drawing algorithm determines the points of an n-dimensional raster. is an incremental error algorithm. Why was I looking at these before? Oh, it's the painter's algorithm. This is the thing we're using for line of sight, I think. Is it? I think we were looking at this when we were drawing line of sight. I don't know if I've got that somewhere easy. Do I just have this path exists? That's not it. Line collision. So this function we've got in here, if you can see it, this is doing like an iterative step to see if, along like tiles, so quite big sections to see. Also, I mean, I might make the game multiplayer at some point. Probably not, because it's a bit late in development now. And I've not built the concept of server infrastructure into the game. Like, I feel like it might be tricky. But, you know, if I get really bored one day and I want to spend like a few years building multiplayer, maybe it would be nice to have as an option. I don't know. I think forcing the game to run at 240 Hz is not what I want, I guess. Draws 8 octants simultaneously, starting from each cardinal direction. 150 concentric circles. It just feels so brute force, right? You're functionally saying, like, here's my circle, here's my square, let's check every individual pixel, like one at a time. Is it within the box? Use Claude. That's right. Here's a jigsaw puzzle I bought you. I've also finished it for you. Isn't that so much fun? Look, you can see the completed product. Do you like the jigsaw puzzle? Man, how much fun that would have been to build together. Oh well. Your URL got nuked, DFO. Google Drive link? Oh, come on, DFO. You can't be posting Google Drive links. Where does it go? Is this takes me to like a fucking PDF. I'm not clicking on it. You can't be fucking linking pirated shit. Access denied. Let's try and stick to maths we can type in our head. I don't need to be downloading PDFs for this, I hope. Here's an idea. Normalize the capsule center line vector and then use 1 minus absolute x, 1 minus absolute y of that to grow the box, and then do box versus line. Explain. Normalize the line vector, and then use absolute x. You opened it. If it's a PDF, I'm not reading it. You've linked them individually as PNGs. Okay, these are fine. You're very sweet, TF0. I know you're a normal... It's an educational purpose, yeah. I know you're a human, but you got to understand that, like... I will buy it later, yeah, that's right. Linking this shit on Twitch chat is fucking insane. This is nice. Binary impact search. To get a better scaling algorithm, we use a binary search. In this way, we can enclose a moving object's current position, move position in a bounding circle. They don't... Oh, I see. Oh, these images are quite useful. They do not collide. You know, there can't be a collision. That's true. And then we subdivide it into some halves. I kind of see what you mean. Okay, let's keep that in mind. That's pretty cool. And I don't think there's actually too many iterations involved, though. If you know it's grid aligned, Ted is right. Kind of step through the grid cells overlapping with the capsule, similar to rasterizing a width line. Okay, how about this? I'll try both, and we can see if they both work, which one is the most performant. How does that sound? And then that way everyone gets to have a piece of cake. What do you think? How does that sound? The midpoint algo might be bad for small circles. I mean, some of the bullets will be small. That being said, like, the smallest a bullet would be is 1 pixel, and a tile is 16. So the smallest a bullet realistically would be is a 16th the size of a tile. Which... is that small? I don't know. Like, the sizes are all arbitrary, right? But 1/16th, I don't know. Okay, let's have a look. I'm gonna see what I can do with DF0's educational link. I'll see if I can explain it without sharing illicit information. Not that I'm just drawing the diagram from the fucking book. I'm coming up with this myself. I think this is the idea. You have a couple of points. I think you can see my screen, right? Yeah. You have a couple of points, and you just draw a circle between the 2 points, like so. Not a very good circle. But in this case, there's a collision. So you're happy. And if this doesn't collide, then there's no collision. That's step 1. And then after every step, I guess you make you make a circle in the middle of those 2 points, like such. And then you draw another collision, like here. You have an idea, but you'll have to draw it. Okay. You can always put images on Discord. And you do it another one. I don't exactly know how that resolves this section in here. I guess that might not matter in this case, because that wouldn't be a collision we care about. I think basically you just do this iteration over and over and over again until eventually you've functionally just done a circle collision across the whole thing. Now, is that the right one? Has to be around both flip circles fully. Oh, sorry, I misdrew that, didn't I? So it's more like this and this. So that's another collision. And then you decide how accurate you want to be. So you can take this down to a small point. We know that our tiles are of a certain size. So, I mean, you know, you can keep subdividing, I guess, over and over again. Pretty small style. Until it's about the size of a tile, right? And then, yeah, you just go to a level of accuracy that you're comfortable with. I guess in this case, the radius of the bullet is about the same as a tile. But, you know, if the bullet were really quite small, like if a bullet were this small, and you could end up with quite a lot of checks. Now I'm drawing it wrong. Am I? Okay, let's have another look. They've got a circle here. They've got a line here. They've got their center point here. They've got something doing a line here. Something doing a line here. You have to look for the first collision. Well, I drew that earlier, and then I deleted it. What if you just take current point plus velocity as 2 circles? Well, in this case, it's just current point and previous point. We're not calculating forwards right now. We're doing like backwards. Because at this point in time, current velocity is future velocity, if that makes sense. You will have the same number of checks as in binary search, which is very small. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're only halving it each time, right? Current point was 2 circles and compare those to tile boxes. Is that not good enough? Well, no. I mean, if the bullet is here, like this would not result in a collision, right? Right. That's no different to just checking for a circle collision at each point, I think. Right? This is, and then, you know, if you increase the hertz, this is what you get. Obviously. You can increase the hertz as much as you want and get more precision, but it doesn't really fix the problem. It just sort of covers it up. We're trying to do like, right? You would have to. You think you would like to sit down and explain this? You don't know if you can draw it. Is your algorithm different to this one, Ted? Because there's like a little code in here we could try. The function needs some explanations. There's a minimum move distance. It's the smalling distance which the algorithm subdivides the movement. It's derived from the moving circle's radius. Big circles lead nest tests, and small ones. Makes sense. Epsilon is the minimum value for minimum move distance. It's needed to prevent an endless approximation situation, so you just keep getting smaller. If the circle's radius is 0, for example, we'll just go on forever. Moving circle, rectangle collide twice in the same statement. Won't it become a linear search when both halves of the movement get checked? No, because language C has short circuit evaluation. When one of the two function calls returns yes, the other won't be executed. Well, yeah, obviously, because it's too hard. Whatever, that doesn't need to be said. The algorithm is generic. We can replace the circle with a rectangle and it works as well. So he's got a boolean where you pass in two rectangles and vector 2D move A. I don't really understand what that is quite yet. They're constructing an envelope, which I guess they're calling the shape surrounding both points. Yeah. People are just describing the conservative advancement algorithm as Aaron Cato. His name's Aaron Cato. Conservative advance. Each next circumscribing circle is about twice smaller than the previous one. I do think he's the guy who made Box 2D. The algorithm for continuous collision in robotics and computer animation. What does he call it? Oh, that's what Aaron Cato. What an absolute privilege to welcome him. Prison? Oh, Box 2D. Oh yeah, because Box 2D was originally for like robots, right? Right? I thought. Like one of these gaming libraries that we use all the time, or was it? No, it wasn't Raylo. Well, one of these things was originally used but for like Roombas, right? Or like robotic. No, I'm thinking of A-Star. I'm sorry, I'm talking out my ass. A-Star algorithm was originally described for that. Sorry. Was that Dijkstra? I don't know. Did you see the tunneling out of curiosity, or are you future-proofing? I think it's an intuitive, like it's a good problem to solve, right? We do have a problem where you can shoot through corners. So I think it does sort of exist. And I'm kind of hoping that... Well, I think it's future-proofing, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, it's future-proofing. I basically don't want the game to feel jank, if that makes sense. I think if you're playing a game like a big bullet shooter and like you start seeing bullets going through walls and things teleporting around and like not matching hitboxes, you're like, oh, this is a piece of shit. I think it was originally a thing he threw together to demo how to make a physics engine, Box 2D. No, I was thinking of A-Star. Okay, we have a number of things we can think about. I'll try DF0's solution because he's been kind enough to find a copy of his book. We can just try it, right? Binary impact search is what it's called. Let's see. Just for fun. Blah, 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 blah. What is move A? It's a vector 2D. In this case, it's a vector meaning like a coordinate, or like a x and y or an x, y, z, or is it a vector meaning like a direction, like an arrow, a vector? Why did we use the same word for different things? And it's also the crocodile in Sonic the Hedgehog, I think. Okay, let's see. Where do we start? Let's just start somewhere. So his paper has this ball. I'm just going to copy it verbatim for now. We have something to work with. Moving circle, rectangle, glide. He has a circle. I guess we're going to have a donut circle. A vector 2D. Whatever a vector 2D is. Oh, vector, I think in this case is, it must be the place of movement, right? Yeah, vector in this case is actually the line. Like it's the, I don't know how to describe it than saying it's a vector. Like, you know, where are we looking? Someone's scamming in Discord, are they? Oh, someone's spamming. Easy. Thanks for letting me know. I banned them. Where it moved from circle. Did the ban work, or did I ban Tom Bowser by accident? Oh no, the ban worked. Yeah, I fixed it. Yeah, so in this case, that's something we'd have to calculate, because right now we actually just have 2 points. We're not calculating that. We can get a vector from that, certainly, but is that necessary? How's the coding going? Complicated. Well, really, the vector 2D is just working out where that second circle would be, right? So we'd have previous... We might have to modify this a little bit, if it's possible. I'm so stupid. Position, and then rectangle is the thing we're colliding with. Previous position, and wall, let's say. And we'll call it previous circle. And current circle. Let's see. Return true, whatever. Okay, we have to come up with an envelope. I don't know if Donut has like expanding circles as a function. How do you expand a circle? Okay, peep the Discord for Ted's idea. Alright, sure. Where did you put it? Programming. What about this? Alright, perfect. I'll pop this in the old paint and we can have a look. Explain yourself, Ted. Only transform a bullet is smaller than a grid. But our bullets are smaller than a grid. But if I were to add like a really big bullet, like a super plasma cannon, giant explosion rocket, this might cause problems. But then maybe, let's ignore that for now because that's not the case quite now. We only need to check where it exits a box plus endpoints. Oh no, we missed one. This can't happen because it's a straight line segment. I can kind of see what you mean. You're talking about like doing a like checking where along a wall the bullet would collide with, if at all. It does... No, hang on, let me think. You're looking for intersections of a line on a square, right? In this case, we've got some points of intersection being here and here, here. We've got the start position and end position. And then you're drawing a radius out from that. And you're checking to see if that radius is inside the wall or not. Is that correct? How does this work for a case where the bullet is like here? Obviously there's no collision. And if the bullet is here, well, there would be a collision right there, of course. That's a good point, Ted. At those points, can it potentially clip over into a third square that an uber thin line would miss? How do you check for line intersection with box? That's pretty easy, right? Oh, nothing's easy, is it? Line collision with box. Oh, line. There's only 4 squares maximally per circle check. Linear interpolation. What? Oh, we could use this to test for line of sight. An intersection. Linear interpolation. It has multiple meanings, huh? Oh, maybe I should also say, like, if we can solve this as a capsule, then I can actually use it as line of sight check for the player and enemies. Because I've mentioned before, like, if this is a wall, and this is an enemy, and this is the player, I'm doing like a sort of painter's algorithm to see if they can be seen. So it's pretty shit. So if we could do a collision, like a capsule check, then it would actually be really nice to be able to reuse that for line of sight. That's a nice thing as well. Maybe. I've got a DM from Donut. Donut's DM has like math in it. Oh god. Let's have a look. Oh, I see sin. Let's have a look. He's come up with expansion vectors, and he's using Spanish as well. Okay, let's have a look. Do you want the enemies to have a field of view, or can they just see you if they have line of sight? Right now, it's pure line of sight, but honestly, a field of view would be kind of nice. But that's a task for another day. As it is now, the system is so very basic that having any improvement would be nice. So if it's possible to reuse the bullet line of sight with walls to also check between players and enemies, because functionally it's the same sort of thing. We're just saying that there's no collision in between, then there's a line of sight. And that, you know, the enemies and the player, they're just circles. The bullets to positions, those are just circles. I would have thought that it would work kind of the same. At which point, it's very possible that enemies would be larger than tile size, so I don't know. Basically, you just ask OK through... Oh, this is for Ted's thing. I'll bring your thing back on the screen. You ask OK through which side is the bullet leaving? Okay. Where will it hit that side? Okay. Which is, I think we do side checks in the wall collision code. to see like which part of the wall you're touching. Is it close enough to the edge to hit the above or below square 2 and then repeat? Your point is you only need to check the spots where the bullet crosses an edge. Let's not compute sine and cosine and collision detection. That doesn't sound cheap. Well, keeping in mind like the game is only going to calculate a handful of these per frame, I think a couple of sine and cosines isn't too bad. Because remember, at this point, I'm hoping we'd have already we'll have already worked out which tiles they're colliding with, so you'd only be doing sine and cosine like once or twice per bullet, which I don't think's too bad. We're not doing it for every tile on the screen, just for the ones that are really close. What graphics API is this? I'm using libdonut to handle wrapping it, and he's written it to use, I believe, OpenGL. So under the hood, it's OpenGL, but hands up, I'm using a wrapper that Donut has made for graphics and a couple of other things. It's quite a good framework. The worst thing is a single square root. For normalizing central line. It's impossible for a sphere to touch 3 squares. Exactly 3 squares. A sphere will only ever touch 1, 2, or 4 squares. There are no trig functions in your solution. Aren't sine and cosine calculated using lookup tables? I think at this scale, it probably. I've heard that sort of thing. There's like a pretty extensive lookup table for it. Sine and cosine were just to show your work. Oh, he's so fucking mathematicians. F of E is easy. It's just a dot product between the forward vector of the enemy and the position of the player. Then I guess we just have to calculate. Okay, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. At some point, I'm sure we'll implement something good for that. Because I like the idea that right now, by the way, it's very top down, right? Like if I'm here or here or here, the enemy checks the same distance. If it was like a nice cone, or even like this shape, it's kind of nice to think that you could sort of sneak up on them if you came in from here. It's a nice thought. Or indeed just have like a big check like that and then an FOV check. Or like a regular old radius and then an FOV, whatever. This could be like his audio check and this can be his visual check. If you want to make something up. It can collide with 3 squares before collision resolution. At any given instant, it cannot touch exactly 3 squares if we're talking about a mathematical sphere. Okay. You can use linear interpolation to do what is called bilinear interpolation, which lets you apply this to a 2D grid for wall checks. I'm sorry, Tristan, you're naming things but not describing what they are. My understanding of linear and bilinear interpolation is for like finding an alpha between 2 values. If you want to interpolate between red and green, you get something sort of in the middle. And if you're doing bilinear like blending or blurring, you get the average of 2 pixels to blur things. I don't know how what you're saying applies to capsule and cube collision. Let's have another look at what Donut's posted, because he's written maths in it. And that's important. He's had a think. While I've been sitting here talking out my arse. Again, we can always just implement a few different things and see if one of them is more expensive than the other, right? Let's see. So this is Donuts. He's saying that you were talking about how we want to, between our 2 points, we want to draw a line and then expand the walls by the radius of what the line would be, so the radius of the circles. Instead of making a capsule, we have the line and then make the squares as if it was a capsule. But you needed to work out how to to grow it so it's treated as if the edge was rounded. This square or something like that. I don't know. How do I read this though? This is your what do I read? How do I read this? How do I read this? We have our line here. This is our line detection. And then we've got our previous and current position somewhere off screen. Who cares? And we've got a nice big square we're colliding with. Oh my lord. You can use a formula he's given us here. Using sine and cosine, but you're saying that there's a way to do it without sine and cosine? It shows how to expand the box by to emulate rounded corners. Oh my god. E is radius cosine, radius sine, which is also radius or radius divided, radius. It's in a 2D matrix. Well, I don't know what this bit here is, which is equal to r multiplied by this centerline normal. Oh, is that how you write absolute in notation? It's like this. Okay, that's really good to know. You know, I'm glad I went to university. I'm not so glad that it was 10 fucking years ago. It's been a long time. Now, I don't touch this sort of thing very often, I guess. Maybe I should. This is how you stop yourself from losing your mind when you're old, right? Can you tell me how you know any of this? You've just done lots of maths on your game engine and you just remember all of these functions. Right. Because I was talking in like abstract terms, you know? This is not abstract, this is quite concrete. There's a new... I can't tell what's different between this and your last message. No, this is the same message. I've been added on Discord. Somewhere. Oh, it's by Ted. You might have to zoom in to see the detail here. We're going to uni 2 years longer. You were at university for 5 fucking years? You know? The instant it crosses the boundary, just check if it's closer than its radius to top or bottom. Count those as colliding with those 2 grid squares. How easy is it to do a boundary check, Ted? Also, am I currently like looking at 3 different algorithms at once, but I haven't written like anything to get them working? That's the part you're not sure of. Why expand the box instead of doing Minkowski sum with proper rounded corners? Well, that's a new one. Let me Google that. Minkowski sum. In mathematics, the sum set of 2 subsets A and B of an additive abelian group? What's an abelian group? It's also called a commutative group. It's a group in which the result applying the group operation to 2 group elements that do not depend on the order in which they are written. It's a set? A discrete set of some kind? It's formed by adding each element of A to each element of B. Oh. In geometry... Minkowski difference, also known as a blah 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 subtraction, is the inverse. Where A minus B produces a set that can be summed with B to recover A. 2D image processing, its dilation and erosion. I don't know how to begin with this. It plays a central role in mathematical morphology. It arises in the brush and stroke paradigm of 2D computer graphics. Yeah, this sounds a bit like what you were talking about, Donut, where you were doing this sort of sweep. Oh. It's the solid sweep operation of 3D graphics. So the idea here is it's a bit more computationally expensive. You have your capsule as such, and your wall, wherever the wall may be, and you're performing some operation on it to have a set of, I don't know, I don't even know how to draw this. You're like calculating this dead space somehow by saying, I guess it's like all this space around it. By saying it's these are not in the white space is not in the space contained with the cylinder and the square. Perhaps that would work. You feel overkill? It might be a little overkill here. We don't need like hyper precision. I would like it to run many times per second, many times over. Right? This is for a game, by the way. I don't know if you've literally just joined. The problem space that we're working in is as follows. We have walls on a grid, so all these trees. These are all on a grid, they're all aligned. We have bullets, which if I enable the hitbox view, you can see bullets are circles. And every frame they'll move somewhere. We can draw a cylinder between them, and I'd like them to collide with walls, but I'd also like to resolve the case that they could move between walls within one like physics tick. So it's something that has to run fairly frequently. Like if I'm here, I'm blasting the wall with loads of bullets, and there's like a million enemies on the screen, and these are all shooting millions of bullets and attacking the wall. I would like this to be at least somewhat performant, you know? What you try to do with your approach is come up with a specialized approach, not a general approach. I do like it though. I like that you've been drawing and coming up with a solution, Ted. You're doing more input than I am, I think. Okay, that's let me pause. I'm overheating a bit. There's two approaches right now that we can use, right? We've got DF0's approach, which is to do some sort of sequential binary search where you divide some circles by 2 each time to a minimal degree to assert that there's a collision, or which is some form of binary search, so it should be quick enough. And we can also got Donuts one, which has some mental overhead on. I suppose what Donut is giving us here is a formula to work out how to expand the rectangle when performing the line, like the collision check against the line, right? I'm gonna see if I can try the F-Zero's approach first, because he posted it first. That's mostly why. And then I'm going to try and do Donuts one. Because this needs some time in the brain to... The neurons need to wiggle and they need to start electrocuting each other. The end result of it is just radius multiplied by vec2 absolute centerline normalized y. And... oh god. Am I just really dense? It's your box expansion. Hang on a moment. Maybe we can start with yours, because that's... maybe that's trivial then. And then we try F-Zero's. Because I feel like everyone's put a bit of work in, and I want to at least... I want you to at least see that I'm using the work that you've put in, if that makes sense, chat. If you sat here and written something down, I should at least give it a go, right? Line versus box is the hard part. Oh, it's not trivial. Oh. Line versus box. Can we use Ted's algorithm in there? No, because I guess that was checking for boxes of a regular size on a tile grid. You're writing that right now. You think the first thing you'd have to do in any case is check if the line between the two circles collides with the square? Yes, actually, I suppose just starting with a raycast. Starting with a raycast is simplest, because a raycast at the very least will prevent the most common case, which is a wall being here, fine, and your bullet here and here. A raycast would block this, and honestly, it would block most things, just not to the precision that I care for. So obviously, it wouldn't block this, and this is when you'd start doing. Yeah, start with just asking where the line intersects with the grid lines, and then you can just add any squares it might miss with a simple distance check. Yeah, we've got that. We have... oh god. For every bullet, we have constructed a capsule. Based on that capsule, we are constructing an axis-aligned bounding box. So, we have, for the last time, I hope, 2 points, circle, circle, line, line. There's our capsule. Here is our axis-aligned bounding box. That's where we are now. This is what we have. And we can interrogate the level to say, you know, these are our tiles. For example, that this is the grid of the world. Which tiles are involved? Based on the top left, that's this point, and the bottom right, or whatever. It's min and max, so I guess it's the top right and the bottom left. It doesn't matter. So we already know which tiles we may be interacting with. That's this tile, that's this tile, and that's this tile. We have this already. How do you store your entities in memory? They are technically just packed together in a big array. So, I mean, accessing the entities... sorry, the entities. You mean the bullets? Because the walls are just packed together in a very quick to access grid. Like accessing the tiles, not a problem whatsoever. Easy. We do it every single draw frame in a shader to get the tiles to draw on screen to one texture. Where the entities themselves are, we're using ECS. So there's a registry somewhere. The entity is simply an ID. It's an integer, and the transform components, maybe they're packed together. That's not something I'm concerned with. The point is we have them, and we have them at decent speed, so that's not really the concern. Very Dismas thing. You want to see a box get smaller every line going. Exercise for the reader. Okay. This is where we are. We have this right now. We know which tiles to check, and we know we have an AABB and a cylinder, and I guess 2 circles. So what we can start with, to be nice and trivial, let's say that this middle line is a wall. Okay, there's a wall in the middle. Let's just start by doing a raycast, because a raycast will check that collision nice and easy. I should also say that the end point here is that we're just destroying the bullet, right? So we're not aligning the bullet to the wall or moving it, we're just destroying it. That's important for performance. It is important for performance how they're stored in memory, but just assume for now that they are stored as best as they are, as best as they can be. That's not the problem here. They're stored fine for now. We're iterating over them as fast as ECS works. Entity is a pretty big framework, a big library. It's good enough for my approach, but I think Donut rewrote Entity. He had his own ECS and libdonut 3, so obviously there's use cases to rewrite it, but for my concern, the map is pretty much instant to get any particular tile from. I can show you how that works. Get tile, you just pass in a coordinate. Get tile works out which chunk it should be in. And it asks in the chunk itself, in the tile, where to get it. And the actual tile itself is where we got it, just this array here. So the map is nice. It's packed together nicely in all these arrays. They're, like in memory, I'm expecting they should be pretty much dead on next to each other. But that's fine. Like it's not. It's about as instant as I care, honestly, to get a single tile out of the map. And in this case, we've already got the entities. We're just this code here to loop through the registry for entities with particular components. There's no optimizations I want to do here. Okay, see you in a bit, Ted. Anyway, let's start with our raycast, because that should be pretty easy, right? Have I done that somewhere already? Question mark. Have I done a raycast already? I guess at this point you could perform an intersection. We've got a line. Maybe we could use the line. Let's keep the line on us, by the way. It seems handy to have. Hang on. Center line equals center line. Well, what do you want to call this? Yeah, center line. Sure. Const line. There. Well, const auto center line equals this. You're not able to work out what you are, are you? Line segment, fine. Oh, hang on. You haven't fun following this, but because there's so many suggestions, you'll take a back seat and let you consider mine after the others. Okay. Thanks. It is a little hectic. I'm getting a little lost, unfortunately. Software development's a little tricky. Do you need to have a copy of it? Is that your problem, Mr. Capsule? I guess I can just construct a line segment from the other line segment. Is that allowed? No? You're not happy with that. You can't just construct a line with another line segment. Fine. Oh, do you need to be a line segment of T? Do you take a template, so you'll be a float to and float. Well, I guess I can do this. Yeah. Okay, it just needed the template arguments. Fine. Yeah, this is all fine. Okay, line to square. Line to square, line to square, line to square. Line to square collision detection. That should be easy. That should be really easy, right? Maybe it's not so easy. You do a line segment test. For access a line box, we can do things more easily. Okay. So we're actually doing line to AABB collision detection. Best way to detect collision between line in... What's this, 3D? Ray. Slab method. This is what you mentioned earlier, Abdul, right? Was that you? I think you mentioned slab, right? AABBs are used to blah 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 blah. The fastest method is the slab method. You did. Let's start with that, because I think I do agree. Like having a basic raycast should be pretty quick, and that'll minimize the number of more expensive checks we have to do. If the raycast is true, then there's definitely a collision. It won't tell us where the collision is, but I think it'll be okay. Treat the box as the space inside of 3 pairs of parallel planes. The ray is clipped by each pair of parallel planes. If any portion of the ray remains, it intersects the box. Okay. A simple implementation looks like this. And then they've got... Oh, they're doing a lot of division. When you're ray tracing, the same ray is tested against many AABBs to make sense to pre-calculate the inverse of the directions. There's a lot of divisions. Mins and max. Well, Oh, it doesn't work for negative direction vectors. Interesting. That's not a massive issue right now. If you're inside a box and like that's more of a problem. C++ slab detection. Min and max instructions are basically through on x86. Float divides are pretty cheap. Yeah? Due to its efficient nature, this is Wikipedia. Due to the slab method's efficient nature, it allows for branch-free implementation, so it's used widely in computer graphics. Okay. How much of a pain is it? Let's just have a simple function called, just for now, I'm just going to call it raycast. I know we're doing slab or something, but... Or is raycast a generic idea? And slab is just an implementation of raycasting? I don't know. Let's say we want to pass in the transform... Well, we don't need to do this if in here for now. I'm just going to say, like, if it was false, then we do more, but whatever. I just want to see some pseudocode. My ability to read mathematical notation and turn it into code is pretty bad. You're shocked Raylib doesn't have it. I guess I could have stolen it from Raylib. I think Game Maker had it. Check collision lines. Huh. So, this article on tabinator.com shows a ray as having an origin, direction, and direction inverse. Axis aligned box having a min and max, which we've already got. And then an intersection being you're iterating over D 3 times. I guess those are the 3 slab slices. You're calculating if the line is within... I'm describing it so badly because I don't truly understand it. Rays which touch a corner, edge, or face are not considered non-intersecting. That's okay for now, because that's what our secondary test would be for, and also for bullet... yeah, that's basically what our secondary test is for. That's not our problem. Good lord, there's so much going on in here. I don't... GitHub. Raylib. Oh, you're just linking to Raylib, are you? Odlom? Lab.com. Somewhere in here there is, what did you call it? Collision lines. Check collision point line. Check if a point belongs to a line created between 2 points. Collision circle line. Collision rec. Point poly. Check if a point is within a polygon described by an array of vertices. Well, that... No, it's not line polygon, isn't. Okay, back to this article. So this article, which I'm stealing from, called on tavernator.com. Looks like it has the implementation we want. I have no idea what language this is. It's just C++, I think, or C. Yeah, looks... I don't know what underscore CMP underscore LE underscore QQQ is. Give the exact code for it. I'd like to see if I can steal it off the internet. I don't know how different that is to just stealing it from you. I'll be honest. I was originally hoping that I'd be able to do it myself, but backface culling I don't care about. I don't really care about the origin being in the box. Oh, the graphic gems algorithm is simply... I was just trying to see if there was maybe an easy one. There's a branchless slab from... here. This is really small. This is just intersection... I mean, I can just paste some of the code I'm reading. This is just Stack Overflow. Someone's posted this from Avian. That's basically the website I was just on, but it's a much earlier article. I think the one I was looking at was like a slightly more optimized one. You can. I'm sure there's lots of people in the internet who implemented this. The correct implementation is branchless. I guess that's this one, right? This is the one. Both I found it myself on Google, but also this guy on Stack Overflow linked it, which is possibly why it was high up on Google. You know, this got a lot of clicks, but also it seems like a very valid article. This doesn't work in negative direction vectors. I mean, again, I think I'm okay with that. This doesn't work for all angles in GLSL. What I should also say, by the way, is if we get this working, we can implement bullets being destroyed on collision, and then we'll have something to test against when we come to doing our other stuff. That looks solid. This I hate this, but I'm like starting to slowly understand this, or at least recognize this, because this does match with the other stuff I've been reading. You can send the implementation from your physics engine. Is that in version 3.0, Donut? Well, whenever I update, will you simply have a function for this I can replace this with? In which case, for now, we can just leave this and then replace it with yours. Yes. Okay. For now let's use Tavian's. Is that his name? He has a resume. Software developer. Who'd have thought? Oh, he's only a little bit older than us. Oh no, he's quite a bit older than me. He was a web developer in 2008. Never mind. What was I doing in 2008? I was playing Smash Brothers. Looks almost identical. Yeah, I mean, I can link this webpage. This is the 2011 one. I'll link it on YouTube too. The article I was reading earlier, I think, was a 2022. Right, like this one as well. This is the newer one that I was reading earlier that started getting a bit more complicated. Maybe he has an even newer one. I don't see it. They're complaining about CPUs. This one was the one that I was reading as you, Abdul, was saying, oh, I can send you mine. I was reading this and trying to think, is there an easy way for me to deal with this? But I think for now, if Donut has an okay enough solution in his engine... What makes something a game engine? Because to me, an engine is like the hidden mechanical component of something that drives it. And when you build a car, the engine is sort of separate to the design of everything else, but you rely on it. And by using a pre-made engine, which is quite a complicated piece of work, you can focus on the frame of the car and what shit you're putting in it and what color the paint is and what you feed into the engine. Sure, maybe you modify it a little bit here or there. You have your own slight version of it, but with the game engine, like Unity and Unreal, is like a full suite. It's like an IDE, and it's a 3D modeling tool, and then a preview, and it's also runs the game and has its own version of C++ standard library and all sorts. What makes your thing a framework and not an engine, or is it just an engine? Because obviously, yeah, I mean, right now, libdonut, we're mostly using the graphics components, right? And a handful of other sections. Like, we're using a lot of your wrappers for common maths concepts, like circles and rectangles and sprites and stuff. Well, not sprites, but You call the physics engine a physics engine because that's the established term, but libdonut is more a designed collection of modules and libraries. But like, if I started a new project, I could just plug your framework in and like just get started, right? Or no? I don't remember how much work you've done on libdonut 3 to make it like a plug and play solution. It's not like Godot. Like I know you haven't written like an editor yet or anything. I guess it is like a collection. So you don't use Unreal, you can't verify the machinery is good, not to mention how slow it is. Some parts of Unreal are really fast. If you ever get an opportunity to, I'd recommend having a look at their I remember there were some good articles on it. The collision detection in Unreal is really quite something smart. Or at least I remember in UE4. I don't know how different it is in 5, but they had some really smart people work on Unreal Engine. It's just it's misused by developers who frankly don't understand how to use the tool. But like the problem is the tool is huge, so it's really hard to understand, and it doesn't help that the IDE is very bloated. We've complained about this before, but like I think Unreal can be an amazing tool. It's just not. Most people don't use it to its full extent, I guess. And the physics engine is pretty good. You can do some good stuff with it. Unless you control the main loop if you want. It's not true for Unreal and Godot and stuff. Yeah. Unreal has some poor aspects. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's easy to break stuff with Unreal. It is you can make a very badly optimized game very easily, and it doesn't really stop you. It doesn't have like a profile that kicks off by default and says this is shit. I think maybe it does these days. Who controls the main loop? I guess in our code base, I have the main loop. We have our main function. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Intersection. Let's credit. Always credit. Always credit. I'm not always crediting. I'm stealing. I love stealing. Yes. Thievery. All right. This is from here. Blah blah blah. You can go into a anonymous namespace. Oh, actually, I can pop you into maths for now. Go in here. You can be a no discard inline. In this case, box B can be a donut box. And a donut box of 2 and float. And ray, what is a ray in this article? What information does a ray have? This is a box, and ray R? R has a, I guess it's a vector? N-inv, I guess that's the inverse. So this is its position, right? Ray is not quite what we need. It's a ray. Unreal's graphics are not great either since they started to smear noisy effects and cover them up with TXA. Completely agree. I also hate the overzealous use of, like, what would you just say, like, time-based interpolation, like the horrible smear in modern games. I agree. Dog shit. Isn't some of this stemming from them not using is it called direct temporal is the word, that's right. What was it called? Is it direct render pipeline or something? Like, it's the way that we render differently now is quite different to how, like, the source engine rendered stuff. Like, you don't have full control over deferred rendering. That's it. Like, you don't have full control over it in the same sense. Everything's optimized to run on a GPU in parallel, so on and so forth. Oh god, I'm so out of my depth. At least I'm trying. Oh, Donut, is this from your code? We do a little stealing. All right, what's a ray? Ray has an origin and a direction and a max distance. Yeah, is there a libdonut ray that I can use, or just need to come up with my own struct? That's fine too. Music, go. It only solves the problem of having lots of dynamic lights, but you lose everything else. Yeah, but I mean, modern games seem to pride themselves on lots of dynamic lights. That's kind of goodbye baked lighting. Oh. Transparency is harder. You can't use MSA anymore. I liked MSAA. I guess it was shit before because it was quite expensive on our, like, 660s. But I miss that. I guess that's why we have dithering everywhere, right? In modern engines. There is in V3. Array, in this case, I just have to make array. Struct. Ray. Array is going to have a direction, a origin, and a max distance, I guess. Bad MSA implementation tells it back. Modern MSA looks great. Look at Half-Life Alyx. I'd love to look at Half-Life Alyx. Can I have a VR headset? Min, I guess, in this case is box min. And T is float here. Let's just assume. What is T? Because in the code that I stole from the other guy, this was also called T, or T-min. What was T? What does T stand for? What does little t? And big T, obviously. How far has the ray penetrated the object? T was just they just picked a letter. It doesn't represent like an English word. Time of impact, but not really a time, it's a distance. We can call it maybe penetration factor or something? Distance? Or something? Is that the idea? Like it's how far into the thing it's gone? So in the case that we have a wall... Oh wow, there's nice music, and it's going here. This is that's here or what? I don't know. Like that's here. I don't know. It's from the ray's origin into the thing. Oh, okay, so it's more like this. It's this bit. Okay. So we have to construct a ray now. Okay, that's fine. That's not so bad. I guess it would be intersection. Oh, we can just call it intersection, that's fine. We need to come up with some box. Would be... I guess I can just make a box. Obviously this is not correct. Let me just build first, just so we have ray in here. So to construct a ray from 2 points, we need to get the vector from previous position to position, as well as the length of the difference, because then that's the length of the ray. Right? I think. Do I have that? Why are you lowercase? Okay. Get basic aim vector. So this is the normalized one. This stuff, I guess. It's this predicted aim angle thing, is it? Not this function, but part of this function, right? Because we get the difference. We then get the distance. And we use tan 2 to get the angle. And then I think that's all we need, right? Upscaling FSR 4 DLSS 4.5 is actually amazing too. Yeah. There was some also really good articles on that stuff. God, articles. You know, I found this guy because he's a meanie, but he has good points. But you don't mean me. I'm gonna have a function in float, just in ray called from 2 points. Well, this doesn't really matter in this case. Or is it the A10 to... Somewhere in here we were doing something like that. I don't know if this is correct. I'm so sorry. I'm really quite stupid. Is that right? Maybe I should write this like a constructor. Maybe that's fun. That's programmy, right? That's kind of programmy. I don't know what no discard would do here. Let's delete the default constructor. So we construct an array from oh my god. Well, these two things, I guess. Like that. Good, chat's arguing about DLSS. They don't have time to see my shit maths. I see Donut's written some code. Difference is B point B, B point A, box, I guess. What? Oh, you want to be prefixed with maths, do you? Is that why you're being like this? And then you want to be a maths ray, I guess. I guess we can't construct a box out of IVEC2s. You want to be a float. Is that going to cause problems? Because we're going from int to float. In this case, I don't think so. Do I need to static cast you to float? Because I've used curly braces. Curly brace initialization probably wants me to static cast you, right? Yeah. If I don't use curly braces, does it just let me convert? Probably not. Okay, hang on. I'm being dense. I'm not being dense. I am being dense. I'm being dense. I've already got these as floats. Right? Oh, cock, what am I writing? You're 2 floats, right? I should have think. Hang on a moment, what am I doing? Let's move this out of there for just a moment. Tile box. Advanced auto tile box equals blah. I guess I can do it like this, maybe? That seems a little stupid, but it works. Don't forget floor, and that it also needs the max point as well. Yes. So that would... Is the tile X the bottom left? So I also need to just add on tile size? I think I must be doing that somewhere, right? I'm not. Oh, hang on, I'm dumb. I've done this exact work down here. Oh dear. Okay, here's my tile hull. So we're going to do a maths intersection on the tile hull, and we're also going to get a ray. And pop that up here. Const auto ray equals blah. If there's an intersection between these two, then very good. We're great half of everything. Gaming is just limited by Unreal's bad decisions. I mean, isn't the skepticism about people is that like Nvidia just wants people to spend lots of money on graphics cards, so they're pushing for tech that like relies on expensive graphics cards to work. Because games don't need good GPUs to be fun, you know? Like Slay the Spire is one of the best-selling games within one day ever. That shit was made in fucking Godot, and it runs on a toaster because the gameplay's good. Not to say that pretty games aren't worth making, but you know, having it as the default is kind of weird, right? The truth is more complicated. The truth's definitely more complicated. I mean, consumers in general have always gone weirdly for like marketing where they're talking about how photorealistic or realistic stuff is. See how popular shit like Battlefield is when they talk about like the reflections of your soldiers' tears in the water. But then I guess the flip side is that Battlefield's one of those games where it's actually like really fucking well made. I didn't actually go back on it. Like the newest Battlefield actually like doesn't have path trace lighting, and it runs really well. Games don't account for the most GPU sales. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Decade of lies from Nvidia and Epic influencing things. Yeah. Okay, look, here we've got an intersection. Break. Like, we have one. Let's have a function in here called, does check collision. Calculate collision, I guess, is what we used before. How about in this case, we have calculate... Check for any collision, maybe? Is collision... Is any collision... Is it any collision? Maybe, because we don't really care how it's done. Frostbite engine is great. It's worked on performance experts and people who have taste. Frostbite engine? Which one was that? Focus back on the stream now. Path tracing in RE9 was cool. I've heard awesome things about the black magic that is the RE engine, if it's not an open world game. Monster Hunter Rise still runs like shit, right? Although I was told the most recent update kind of fixed it. But Battlefield engine. Oh yeah. Yeah. Tiled Plus with Zmin a la Call of Duty is just as good as deferred rendering with so many lights, at least at the scale of light count games will actually use. It's such a shame that Call of Duty is both so like technically advanced, but also like, you know, yearly release nonsense. Like it's such a weird game. Like they have some of the best in the industry working on it, and it's just like the same game every year sold to like, I'm sure it's, I think Tommy plays it, like I'm sure it's good fun, good arcade fun, but you know, it's like, it's Call of Duty. It's not like, it's not looked upon as like a work of art by the common man, but the stuff within is a work of art. Like it's made incredibly well. You never hear people talking about how Call of Duty runs bad or like is really buggy these days. It's usually people saying like, oh, the like guy I'm shooting, I'm bored of shooting this kind of guy, I want a different guy. Ubisoft also runs their own tech. Yeah, wasn't Sea of Thieves was like spun off from like Black Flag or something, right? Like the guy on the engine team that was constructing the waves, or the team that made the water in there. It was so good that they were like, we can make a whole game out of this. You're not doing that if you're running Unreal Engine, I guess, and you're using some pre-made shader you grabbed off the internet for the water. In this case, we're going to pass in I don't know, whatever, I'll think of this in a moment. You're going to need a transform. Is that it? And the map? Yeah. You can be copied, that's okay. As a treat. Copy everything. Isn't that what they say? You should copy Actually, we're not modifying this stuff at all. We can totally get away with it. It's chill, right? It's chill. I think you can even make you const, right? Should be chill. I think this is okay. If it's not, I will just fix it in a second. Oops. Let's see. So if there's any collision between the map, the transform, and the collision, then rejoice. We're happy. Great work. I'll have a look at the collision system for a second. To destroy, extensions to destroy is a standard unordered set. This is private, right? Yeah. Over here, dot empty. No, dot clear. Yeah. Entities to destroy. Dot in place. Entity. And then afterwards, we can just say registry dot delete afterwards, right? Pretty simple. Oh, Alex. Hey. Oh. The slug algorithm, which is the state-of-the-art method for text rendering, was recently unpatented. Which ECS is that? I'm using Entity. ENTT. Entity. Library. What's wrong, little guy? Non-void function. Oh, whoops. Any collision? Return false. So this is at the very least, I hope, maybe at least a raycasted check. Oh, I thought it worked for a second. I mean, it's kind of working, but you can immediately see, like, it's not perfect, right? It's actually a bit... It's working just okay, but you can see it's actually a bit worse than I was expecting. I think I'm clearly calculating something wrong. You pasted the reference implementation. Yeah, it says I'm clearly calculating the something wrong, but you know, this is the basic idea at least. You know, we've got entity destroying. I suspect it's not calculating the size of something quite right. But yeah, it's roughly okay. Why is it quite so bad? This would definitely be doing a raycast, I thought. Let's have a look, because this should work for most cases, right? And then we can do our expensive check later. Capsule hull, collision radius. That should be correct. Capsule AABB, that should be correct as well. It's possible that the line is back to front, but that shouldn't matter. It should be mirrored, so I don't think that matters. It's possible that my intersection function is mirrored, but again, I mean, maybe that would be maybe where it matters. I'm just going to rename this to AABB because it's not a capsule, and that was kind of annoying me. I guess it's possible that this function's miscalculating it, but that at a glance looks normal. AB, AB, min-max, min-max, like that looks normal to me. Ray could be cast back to front, so I mean, if that is what's going wrong here, we can quite easily just flip that and have a look. This sort of thing usually gets me, like when you're pointing from previous to current or current to previous position in this stuff. That doesn't seem to have made a difference. It's possible that, as well, that maybe this code doesn't check if you're already within one. It's the box that checks the quad tree size properly. We're not checking a quad tree. Oh no. Yeah, we're not checking quad trees here. Are we? The quad tree's not been involved here at all. Yeah. That's why I was having a look here. So we're getting an AABB of the square surrounding the capsule, surrounding the line, surrounding the 2 points. And we're checking for collisions on that. I'm wondering if maybe the tile hull is generated wrong, but I don't think it is. I guess maybe this max is incorrect. Instead of 1 by 1, that this should be tile size multiplied by tile size, maybe? I don't actually know. Maybe not, because this is in world space. So every tile is actually 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. So maybe this is correct. 1 should be correct. Yeah. I think that's right. And intersection is the function you sent me. I didn't even have a look at it. So if the direction is inverted, the ray construction looks wrong. Well, I just inverted it now. It was this earlier, but that didn't seem to make a difference. A quad tree seems much more complicated in a chunk system. Is it a lot faster than a chunk-based system? We have chunks. We use quad trees though when we're doing our collision detection for bullets and enemies. It's simple enough. I mean, there's already a quad tree in his framework, so the overhead of writing the quad tree was done. But this seems okay. It's very nice here. There's also chunks, but we're not using chunks for collision detection with bullets. We're just doing the quad tree, and it seems to work okay. What we'll do closer to when we've got more content in the game is do like a proper performance check. You know, we'll see what place it, or what would you call it? There's the word profile. We'll do a proper profile of the program. Isn't it origin direction? Oh, we've got it back to front. Okay. We could do a profile of the game and see what's expensive, and if it turns out that, you know, accessing the quad tree is expensive or whatever, check that stuff. I don't know. I should check that. Not back to front, just wrong. The ray construction looks wrong. Ray. Sorry, I'm starting to lose it a bit. I had it earlier, I promise you. Any collision, and to do that. Any collisions in here. Oh. Right, what do you mean? Origin destination? What do you mean? Oh, is this maybe not using my constructor? Maybe it's not using... I thought this would be calling my constructor. Yeah, I wrote a constructor. Maybe, actually, this is the bit I wrote, so this is probably wrong. I was trying to reuse my code from, or the code from get predicted aim angle. It's okay. But perhaps this is incorrect. Maybe this angle is in the wrong workspace. Maybe this is... You want like not a radian, or you want a radian and this isn't one. I don't know. I thought the idea of getting a difference and then calculating the length should at least be correct, because that should be the distance. It's possible that this is back to front. The direction is an angle. Yeah, that's where it is. I guess we can just use the get normalize. What was it? Get basic aim vector. It should be a vec2. Yeah, this thing then. Yeah. 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 Do I need to worry about this length 0 equals thing? I know you're a vec3, but I feel like within your heart of hearts, you know that you could also be a vec2. Yeah, fair enough. And then even we can pop this in there, maybe. You don't need a max distance, you already have 2 points. You probably don't have to worry about the difference equal to 0. The version you set does that by comparing the length of epsilon. Does it? Where? Oh, you sent a second chunk I've not been using. Yeah, okay, there's loads I'm missing. Hang on. I'm getting sleepy. So hang on, is it still a ray if you've got... What's... Oh god. Let's have a look at his intersection function. Let's just leave it like this for now. Direction is normalized. Yeah, it's yeah. Just something like this. Can I do that? Legally speaking, I might get in trouble for that. What's wrong, little guy? Maybe he's not happy with this. Constructing a Vec 2 with a Vec 3 is making him sad. Just pass actual points from the caller. Pass actual points from the caller. Pass actual points from the caller. Pass actual points from the caller? Okay. What does that mean, sorry? Oh, I'm being dense. Are you upset because... Let's make our lives just a modicum easier. He meant pass in origin and direction. Yeah, we could do that. I just figured it might be useful to have a ray at some point anyway. My understanding is that Donut has implemented the ray and intersection struct and function in his framework in a version that I'm not using yet. So I'm sort of putting it in as a placeholder so that whenever I do update to his newest version, I can just sort of drag and replace things. If that makes sense. If that's what you mean, Div0, by like just using the direction origin max distance and just passing them directly into the function instead of having ray, you know, yeah, passing in these things. What does it return if it's 0? It's a good question. Just some random direction. If it's 0, the racecast will still divide by 0. It's 0 and -1. So what should I do in this case? That's not 0. That's 0 and -1. Should I make it should I make it 1 and 1 or -1 or something random? This is only the case in which it's directly on top of itself. Or should I make it return optional? Should I make it because this is a constructor, I could change it to a function, and I could say it returns an STD optional, and if it's exactly on top of itself, then I don't think it should have this kind of constructor. You don't think so? I think it seemed quite nice. Anyway, let's see if it helped. What did I just do? Oh, I'm missing some code you sent me. Maybe? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not doing your epsilon thing, I guess. So it will crash if they're on top of each other. Somehow. Right. Whatever I just did accomplished fuck all. That's a good start. Check for 0 before you choose to construct a ray to begin with. Yeah. But it's not really enforceable in here, is it? I guess you could say, no, and asserting in who's annoying, because that'd be a runtime error, wouldn't it? Yeah. And we'll get divide by 0 error anyway. I should just have a function in maths called difference. Should I? No, that's pointless. B point B and B point A. What is that? Are you just checking if the box's origin... Yeah, I don't get this, sorry. If the box is exactly updated? Oh, you updated your top one, not your bottom one. Hang on. Don't has sent me the following. How does this different? How is this different? Oh, you did change the bottom one. Hang on a moment. He sent me this. Whoops. So he's told me difference. I guess I could call it line. Sure. Why not? Point B and point A. Oh. Okay, if the line is 0, if the bullet's not gone somewhere, for example, fine. And then we can just say if the box... Is that right? A, in this case, I'm guessing is the box, right? Keep center line, you don't want to type the whole thing out. Okay. I'm guessing in A contains, is there just an easy way to... I mean, if the box contains it, that's just less than, larger than basic shit, right? And box in this case is AABB, contains center line dot A. Fine. And box in this case is the AABB, and it's a ray of 2 and float. Oh, that's the function I've done in here, I guess. No, wait. No, this is dumb. This is really stupid. I'm being really dense. This should be in... This should be all the way down here. Sorry, I'm being stupid. Yeah, this is our maths row. I'm not using that right now. B is center line float. That's just 1.f, I guess. Yeah. Is libdonut C++ only? Yeah. Goodbye, constructor. It was nice. Simple. This is okay. Okay, we'll go to our maths header for a second. We're not using the map here. I've deleted the map. I'm really quite stupid. No, I'm not. You're being dense. Map is unused. Map is used right here. I can't believe even the deterministic program's gaslighting me. Goodbye, constructor. It was nice knowing you. It can't be a direct return in your case because it's not an inner function. Oh, yeah, no, I get you. I get you. Yeah. Because you don't want it to return false the moment it's decided that it's not in there. Oh, you're that fucking bastard, aren't you? Okay, you can initialize in whichever order you like most. Don't worry about it. You can be constructed however you'd like. Alright. It's somehow the exact same. You'll need an else for the yeah, I guess so. There's no point, yeah. Yeah, because you don't want you don't want to be doing the intersection on 0. That would be bad. Everyone knows that. Is this really as bad as the... What's wrong, little guy? Does it say not... Do not use else after return? What? Oh, I guess if it doesn't contain it, it could still go... Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah. I get it. I get it. I understand. Is this really as bad as the ray tracing is, though? I was kind of expecting it to work most of the directions you smack the wall. This, I'm surprised. It's not moving that quick, is it? Maybe it is. Actually, maybe it is moving that quick, because when I move back, the bullet goes slower and it seems to hit the wall a bit better. Let's see, if I make the bullet really slow, weapon.json. Uzi, your bullet speed is going to be fucking 5. No, it gets too far into the wall, I'd say. Well, that being said, I guess it's only checking for the center of the bullet. So it kind of makes sense, because it's not ray tracing from the edge of the bullet. This is ridiculous, though. How on earth is it so bad? If distance is less than epsilon... This is what I wrote, right? You're writing what I wrote, right? That looks the same. And I'm also constructing the ray outside of the for loop because it seems unnecessary to do that constantly. Right. Why is this shit? Is it? What is it? You finished pirating performance-aware programming series. Don't expect them on upcoming streams. 88 hours of pure performance. Oh dear. Bruh. Well, why is this ray tracing quite so shit? Or the ray casting? I kind of thought it would do a better job. There's no chance it thinks these bullets are, like, not intersecting. Some of them are dying of old age before they get hit with a collision. Sometimes it works okay, like this tree. Whatever this tree's made of is hard stuff. The one next to it... Hang on, is it working better in positive than negative? This is positive. Is this that classic fucking nonsense? No, this is negative. It doesn't seem to work in negative space, maybe. Hang on, maybe that's it. Let me go up to the top right here. Pop this. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think this is working as we kind of thought it would in positive space. And then we go down to negative space. I think it's the way it's normalizing something, or it's not normalizing something. And then down here we're in the negative Y. It seems to break. I'd say. That's a guess, but it seems to be true, doesn't it? And here where it's yeah. Pseudocode. It must be the intersection function, right? Is 1 divided by distance correct when distance is negative? Question mark. Because double check the intersection implementation. It's not this then. Okay. It's a length. Okay. This looks a lot more like that code that we nicked off the internet. This doesn't look that weird to me. I don't see anything immediately. I'm also like falling asleep. It's 1 AM. It's not really the best time to be thinking about maths, but I really wanted to get this working before the end of the stream. I think it's annoying to leave it unfinished, right? Because we can focus on the complicated, like, capsule collision stuff next time, I guess. How we'll remember any of this, I don't know. I'm tired. This is from your engine, so surely this is tested to work, right? You want sleep. I do, Brett, in a box. I do. Hello. We're trying to work out why... We've basically spent the last 3 hours trying to do some, like, capsule on axis-aligned bounding box collision detection, and it was complicated. So we just decided, just as... be lazy for now to just do a raycast, and it doesn't seem to be working in negative space. So if I go down here, my X and Y is in the negatives. The bullets don't really get destroyed when they hit a wall. Sometimes they do, which is a little weird. The bullets don't tend to go through boxes. But yeah, look, up here in positive space it works just okay. We're just trying to debug that. And then we'll have a proper capsule collision working some other time. I'm tired. Oh dear. It should be good. Is it possible that the axis-aligned bounding box of the capsule hull is incorrect somehow? It seems unlikely. Could it be that the center line is going between previous and current? I thought this should be... It shouldn't matter which order you put the positions into this line, right? It's a line. Right? It's a line. It's between 2 points. It doesn't matter if this point is A and this is B, or the other way around. In Python, the top left is 0, 0. There's negative options. Negative space is like shooting backwards. In this case, we're working on like a normal... maths grid. So this is 0, 0. This is minus, well, you know, let's say actually this is 1, 1. This is minus 1, minus 1. This is 0, 0. So this space, it seems to break. That's my hypothesis. I guess we could also check to see if it if it breaks, if we go in, you can see your X and Y here. Negative X here. It yeah, it kind of works from one end. Yeah, it's weird. Player isn't 0, 0. No, the player is at the position they're in, which is here. They're moving around. They're doing their own thing. The mice are exploding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on now. I'm just gonna make the rocket explode. I think that's fun. While I'm falling asleep, sorry. Const auto explosion equals this. Collision and start position. I guess that would just be... And we also need to get the transform, do we? In this case, let's get the transform. Hang on, I'm in the collision system. Get me out of here. I don't want to be in here. Oh lord, I'm like spilling my spaghetti everywhere. Oh wait, this is the right place to put it. My spaghetti is in the exact right place it should be in. No, it's not. Hang on, my collision... I'm in the wrong place. The spaghetti should go back to where it was. I'm so tired. Looks fun. Like, Link got some weapons, yeah. Sorry, what the fuck was I doing? You're fine. You're fine. Okay, this is it. Just stop touching this collision system. Good lord. I'm sorry. Like this. Like this. Get to work, streamer. Get to work. Blah 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 blah. Transform is the transform. What's wrong, little guy? Oh, it's because you're a pointer. Be dereferenced. And you want to be a collision too. Okay, why not? Go for it. At this point, bam. Get removed, idiot. We're just gonna spawn a rocket in here. If the bullet is a rocket, then here we're going to construct an explosion. Is explosion. We're not doing that. We're doing this. We're doing this. Please say you have an entity factory, little guy. That would be so swell. No, he doesn't have an entity factory. Oh, you put it into an AI, that's not fun. Hang on, let me give him an entity factory. Let me give him an identity factory. I will not be reading your comment. Because I'm a dick. I'm tired. Yeah, you can have an entity factory if you like. It's a treat. Now we need to go to your constructor, which doesn't exist, I guess. And give you one. And we need to go to our systems manager. In yours, when a rocket object disappears, the explosion happens then. That's sort of what we're doing here, I guess. Factory. Two whole jobs to code and stream. Yeah. How you doing, Brett? What game are you making? This should make a rocket explode sometimes when it feels like it. Yeah, look. Not really. Yeah, sometimes it flies through the map, but you know, it's trying, right? It's better than it was, I guess. Which is that it didn't explode. It said reasonable things we had to deal with today. I don't know, it just feels a bit less like we're collaborating with each other and more like we're not. Before you were following a Pygame Zelda clone, like you've been making a Balatro coin collector. That's fun. You're using Python then. Can you see the collision loop again? Yeah. Which one? Here. You got collisions with arbitrary convex shapes working? Oh, nice. Have you been doing that the whole stream? Like, while I've been fucking around here doing nothing? Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know much about Pygame, but I'm aware of it at least. That's quite cool. Have you, got screenshots of it or anything anywhere? The one that goes over tiles to ray collide against. Okay. That's here. So don't worry about the Z, I guess. Y is the AABB min Y up to the AABB max Y. Tile is AABB min X to AABB max X. We construct a tile based on float. We're not flooring it. Do we have a Discord? I do, yeah. You got the state machine rounds working on buying new coins aspect. That's awesome. Quickly, sorry Donut. I mean, you can just pee. I'll read your comment, DF0, but in the future I'd rather you didn't. You didn't. But I appreciate your wanting to help. The loop conditions are wrong. Oh yeah. You're using auto. Yeah, is it what I was just saying? Like, maybe, I don't know if this is what... I was just going to say that I'm seeing here that we're using... These are floats, but we're actually constructing an IVEC with it, and we're not, like, flooring it. Nothing to do with auto. AABB is a float. Yeah, that's true. So I guess... The problem here is it's like rounding a little off, maybe. Do we not need to floor it or round it or something? Oh dear. You're using auto, which resolves to float because it's a float, and then converting those floats to IVEC2. In a standard grid, the space from 0 to 1 belongs to tile 0, but the space from minus... like truncating your code maps to both minus 0.9 and 9 to 0. Is that true? I think we do need to floor it. I don't know if that's 100% true. For any object positioned in the negative range, your loop calculates the wrong tile indices and misses the collisions. Okay. Thank you, DF0. You need to convert AABB to... yeah, okay. Capsule hull... You're writing your own physics. I'm not. No. I mean, yeah, I guess, actually. Yeah, well, is this physics? Am I writing it? Chat's been very helpful over the years, let's say that. Sort of, Thornick, maybe. Sort of. I can't claim to do all the work myself. I've got a lovely community of people much smarter than me. What's wrong, little guy? Oh, you're not called X. What are you called? Oh. What rendering API did you pick? Under the hood it's using OpenGL, but I am using a framework called libdonut to handle a as a wrapper around OpenGL. So when I draw, I just call his render pass function with the sprites I want rendered to his final buffer. It's a free framework. You can look it up. It's very good. You pasted it in software and game dev. Let's have a look. Oh my god. You've been busy. Bloody hell, Ned. People keep asking about it. Yeah, you should come up with a new name. Could have avoided this by having the whole map in positive space. Yeah, but then where do you place the player? There has been a few issues from stuff going into negative, but let's not think about it. It's convenient to have the player at 0-0 sometimes. I don't know. The way I'm doing level generation, I kind of like having it around 0-0. You're also UK to be up at 5. Good night, dudes. Good work. Bloody hell. Great work. Good night. Good luck at 5. You can keep AABB as use later for the raycast. Just make a second one called in AABB. I'm muting myself. Oh, I just unmuted my mic in OBS. I sound tired. Okay, const box 2 in AABB. Why not? Well, actually, hang on. I can construct this from AABB dot min. Hang on, like a floor. ABB dot min. I'll have to use What's wrong? Oh, I'm flooring stupidly. Just make sure we're doing it like this. I don't know what happens if you invert the min and max. I feel like I shouldn't want to find out. What I might do is just call this float AABB just to avoid confusion. Did you write what I wrote? I think you did, right? That looks correct. Here's Gator, you post a clip of the project. Later, Gator. Oh. Blackbirdish coin collector. I can have a quick look. Oh, nice work. Awesome. We love pick 3. Great work. I love to see it. They could change check could use AABB because point A is also float. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. The line is a regular coordinate. I can tell my door's being knocked on. Makes sense. Now, should the tile hull be afloat? I think so, right? Yeah. Does it make sense for the tile hull's max to be a IVEC, like a max between tile and IVEC 2? Should this not be VEC 2 and then 1.f, for example? Oh, tile is IVEC. Hang on, that's kind of weird. Not that it really matters. I guess in this case we're going from integer to float, which is not quite so worrying. Let's see. Oh, look. Into float's fine. Yeah, hang on. Let's make my bullets faster. Uzi. 25 or whatever you were. Let's see. Yeah, look, I mean... Oh, that's really quick. Maybe it was 20 before. It does the job well enough. And I think if we go into the corner, you can see it kind of going through things, which was the whole, one of the reasons we wanted to get capsule collision working. I mean, for now, this is doing the job just fine. I think they are being destroyed like a little soon, maybe, sometimes, but... It's okay. Now, if we line up just right, you can see the hitbox. It's really quite hard to frame advance in my game, it's so quick. Why am I doing a fucking timing game? I just want to like show that like it is technically like grazing the corner, but it's actually not that noticeable, I guess. Yeah, it's just raycasting right now. It's actually doing better than I expected. I think with a fast enough bullet, it should be not too hard to get through the corner, but honestly, the raycast is doing an okay job. Maybe this is why I mean, the reason you can shoot over the wall here is because the bullet actually comes out at the end of your gun. So what I was going to do was use the raycast to also check if there is a wall between the player and the gun when firing. But I'm not going to do that right now, I'm way too tired. Should be impossible to shoot between two cells. You think so? Well, it's if your bullet's really quick. Like if the bullet is going, you know, let's say bullet speed 55. Actually, that's even still... Are any of these going through walls? I can't tell. Maybe not. How about 100? Maybe this is too fast to worry about. It's so fast, it doesn't actually seem to really be hitting the mice, which is kind of funny. Oh no, it is missing the mice pretty badly. The regular collision code, like it's too fast sometimes, I think. A little frustrating, I think. Yeah, this is the bullets like dodging, going so fast they're dodging over the mice hitboxes. I think in this case... Maybe it's good enough. Maybe I was overcomplicating things for 3 hours. Is that possible? You sent some pseudocode. You can avoid triggers while I leave it to you. Oh, it's your lovely code. Here's one way to do it in pseudocode. I'm sure it's missing edge cases, but it's a start. We're coming up with a theta. Angle we're traveling at in radians. I'll post this on stream because maybe people aren't watching the Discord and they want to read what you've written, Ted. Let's paste it so people can have a look. I think I'm too tired to keep working for now. But Ted sent this on Discord, starting here, I think. Yeah. There's a way to detect... Hi Donut, I'm just reading through the code Ted sent quickly, but I'm a bit too tired. You have a theta constructed from your positions using arctan. You have your grid X and Y's stored up here. No point checking for collision if it's not moved, which is one way. Maybe. This is, I suppose, what we're solving by just checking to see if your bullet is just inside the square. So that could be adjusted. If you wanted to still check for collision if you haven't moved, like if you spawned a bullet inside a wall manually, you just check if point A is inside the box. And then I guess you were doing iterative when you check if the square we moved to is solid. If solid, check square clipped into the corners. This is your loop, right? Okay, this is how you're trying to come up with if you're colliding with various things. Okay. This is interesting. I like this. Did you start by writing the comments and then you wrote the code afterwards? Because that's what I like to do sometimes with this sort of problem. I won't rip you a new one. Doing the coordinates top left. In our case, the coordinates actually the bottom left, but I'm sure you could modify it as necessary. You just invert the Y, I guess. This is cool. So you're basically just iteratively looping through, seeing which, like, wall... You wrote both at the same time, that's fine. So let's just remember what you're writing. You're iterating over and seeing which edge of the square and where. It's impossible to shoot between two cells. So the main... I don't know if it's so much as a main issue, but a concern right now, the current system is just doing a raycast, meaning that if you have a stonking great big bullet that's this big, and it's moved like this would not detect a collision, so the bullet would look like it's moving through the wall. Which I kind of thought would be more obvious with the rockets, but I guess the rockets are actually pretty thin. But let's say I implement, like, you know, a tile-sized explosive that, like, goes along like this. You'd expect it to sort of explode when it hits the wall here, and instead it would just never explode. But that's not a problem for now. This raycasting was just meant to be, like, the first line of defense. Because if you do, you know, if we shuffle this square up a bit, if you do return true on the raycast at any point, then there has been a collision. You've avoided having to do expensive work. Your approach is there's no need to AABB, no raycast, it's complete. That's pretty cool. I can have a look at it next time. It's 1:30 AM. Oh, I'm being told am I eeping? Yeah, in AMO. I'm kind of too tired for now. Let's stop there for now. We've got some raycasting things set up. We half implemented DF0's approach that he linked, and then didn't finish it. And we read through Ted's approach. And Ned posted a whole mathematical approach that he's come up with, which looks really cool for an arbitrary shape. Yeah, it works only for small bullets. It's cool. I think you're very smart for coming up with something like that. I've just been sitting here reading chat. It's not as exciting, I guess. Nah, this is good enough for now. Yeah, the bullets kind of clip the wall a little bit, but you know, for now it really does the job, doesn't it? In theory, it's the fastest way to do this specialized thing that you know of. That's pretty cool. This is nice though. It means bed is annoying for testing collisions. Yeah, I should just make. I mean, I could look. I can just do this. Revolver spread 0. Entity factory. Spawn character. Give it a revolver. Now it's got an infinitely accurate revolver with a radius of 0.5, so it's really big. There you go. That's still got spread, huh? That shouldn't be the case. Why do you have spread? That's not right. Is it because it's 0? It just didn't load it properly. That's weird. Hang on. That shouldn't be happening. Why do you have spread? That's not correct. Oh, something's fucked, isn't it? Oh, it's because now the bloody... Oh, it's the fucking thing donut. This fucking thing you spread for weapon type is... Oh, it no longer just uses the weapon type. You have to pass in what spread you want to use when you're making a weapon. Oh, I knew this thing was going to be... Anyway, whatever. It's now accurate, see? Not that the... Oh, I've lost imgui. Hang on. Imgui, come back. Sometimes it just disappears. Look. Here's the hitbox view. The revolver is, you see here. So the revolver's hitbox is this orange bit, and it's obviously it's only detecting when the line collides. Which again is fine when the bullets are like kind of small, you know. But if we were to have like a big plasma launcher that shoots these big things, well, this would look kind of weird, I think. But you know, that's a job for next time, right? Looks okay to me. Ship it. Here's hundreds of mice. I'm out of lives. Now I'm a Toho boss. Isn't it exciting making your own game? Give the mice more than 1 health again. Anyway, I've got to stop there, chat. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. It's been 4 hours. I was so tired. We got one thing working, and that's a good start. Bullets don't go through walls anymore. And it didn't seem slow. I didn't notice anything. Good night, guys. Thanks for all the hard work. I'll see you next time. Good night. Bye-bye. See ya.